wipe your face and then wipe a pan. Your fucking nose. Where's your cooking cloth? I think I go.
Oh, you idiot! Dude, when I wash, what's it called? You know, here's how I wash. This guy is an idiot. He just rubbed his face with the same thing he rubbed the pan. I don't even rub my face with a rag. And if I did, I wouldn't even rub my face, cloth on my face, and then rub it on a dirty dish. In fact, when I rub my face, I either do it with my actual hand, and then I it off very thoroughly, or I just use a disposable, like a paper towel. That's not acceptable. And plus, what's it called? When I have two rags, right? I have the rags on my right, which are the ones that I use for the dirty dishes, and I have the rags on my left, which are the ones that I use to dry my hands off when I distribute them back. There's two different types.
Had problems in both kitchens. It's not surprising that Jean-Philippe is in his own hell in the dining room.
One was nearly having no lobster in there, and the fourth one in the front. Charlie, I done the cook. There's not enough lobster in there. Hey, madam, there's the customer.
On a night of very little consistency, Chef Ramsay is at wit's end and desperate to get quality food out of the kitchen again.
No, you do not just screw up the beef Wellington. If you don't know, apparently the beef Wellington is Chef Ramsay's like top recipe. Like that is his recipe. I don't know if it's his recipe, but even if it is or isn't, that's his favorite dish, if I'm not wrong. And dude, I would feel so ashamed if I screwed a beef Wellington up in front of Chef Ramsay. You don't want to do that. That's like the best way to get disowned by Ramsay, honestly. Oh boy, he messed up the beef Wellington. Now you're gonna get the fury of the gods handed down to you. Olympus is about to unlet rage on your very soul.
You, pathetic! I don't want any more. I don't want to wait for your shit anymore. I don't want your shit anymore. I don't want you drying your face. And then fucking cooking with a cloth. You scummy fucker!
Anyways, so it's like, get out! Ooh. Dude, I can't tell if you want what you'd rather like make mad, a gang member or Gordon Ramsay, because Gordon Ramsay be packing heat. That dude is like 6'1". That dude's a giant. Like he could clobber your face in one smack. Like he'd do like 1.5 billion gazillion damage in one hit. Uh-oh.
Some disgusting pig brought me the sample scrambled eggs. The sample scrambled eggs that I cooked an hour ago.
Make sure you guys take it.
These, yes, they save lives on a daily basis. And you want to serve that? Jeremy! Zach! You fucking killed someone with that!
Ray is scrambling to keep up the momentum and get his...
Man, I'm not a chef, okay? I'm not a chef. I might sound like a hypocrite, but come on. If you're a chef, you gotta at least make scrambled eggs correctly. Like if it's the one thing you can't screw up, it can't be eggs. If you can't scramble eggs, which I can't, I suck at cooking, unless it's like making one dish. I can make like 2 or 3 dishes. Yeah, that's it. I don't really do whole good cooking, but if I was a cook and I couldn't even scramble eggs, you might want to relook at yourself. That guy, Gordon Ramsay doesn't screw around. Like, he actually makes sure you get stuff done.
Used with caution in dogs with a history of seizures and neurological disorders. Protection of the glass.
Can dogs? You know what? I have an interesting question.
The Comcast is
I am not using. I'm sorry. Anyone but Comcast. No Comcast. I will not use Comcast. I'd rather shoot my toe off than use Comcast.
power possibilities.
Do not advertise me.
Taste that. I want you to taste that scrambled egg. Taste it. Some seasoning, guys. Not salt and pepper. Who made that?
I did, Chef. I put salt and pepper in, Chef. You...
I mean, seriously? They're paramedics.
I got him, Chef.
I'm the guinea the doctor right now.
Some more salmon.
Those do not look good.
Time. Can I have one fucking scallops and a fucking hugely cooked? Can't believe it.
I have never seen Gordon get this mad on any TV show. Not even Kitchen Nightmares.
You can do it. Is it cooked or not? Good. Yes. Let's go. Is that cooked? Looks undercooked. Is it cooked? No, it's not cooked. Not cooked. Oh my god. Why did you turn that away, Melinda? Just put it back on the stove, put a lid on top, and 30 seconds cooking it. What do? You just trash it straight away.
Melinda, she had that deer in the headlight look, and that'll kill you.
Look at all this fucking.
Why is there so many noodles?
How many portions are you putting in there?
Dude,
How much is in the bed?
that is a lot of noodles.
Look! What the fuck is this? How much capellini are you throwing away? Look at it! What are you doing, Melinda?
Why did she throw it away?
What are you doing? You're making me mad! Fucking mad!
That girl gonna lead us to destruction. She's stupid.
7 minutes, Wendy, let's go.
Got it.
Why is spaghetti not in there yet?
The water's not at a rolling
The
boil.
water's not boiling. Did you top it up with cold water?
Yes, Chef.
Why didn't you put cold water in there?
I thought cold water was supposed to boil faster than hot water.
What? Are you stupid? I'm sorry, but like, cold things have low energy. Hot things have high energy. Think about this. If something, let's pretend like a thermometer is a racing line, like in zeros at the finish line, right? Let's say you start a race at let's say there's 100 meters, right? Let's say if like this is just me like let's start like 0 to 100 meters, right? If you put a racer at 25 meters and then you put a racer at 75 meters, who's gonna win? Oh wait, it's the one that's at 25 or no 75 meters. God, I can't get things right. Hotter water is going to boil faster because it takes less energy input to do so. This is literally common chemistry. Anybody that has 2 brain cells can actually work this out. Like, you're wrong. The thing is, since hot water has enough hot water has more energy, and cold water has less energy. Cold water, because it has less energy, it needs to have more energy put into it, which means more time. Hot water needs less energy put into it, which means less time. There you go. Oh my god, that is embarrassing.
Away next. Scallop risotto spaghetti, yes?
Lady, spaghetti? Oh, you need more spaghetti, Julie? Oh, I thought I'm just gonna get it.
We had an order for spaghetti and I threw out what we had. And I decided to retrieve the spaghetti from the top of the garbage and washed it.
No!
Kills the bacteria, and then I decided
Wait, what? What did you please, please,
decided
please.
to retrieve the spaghetti from the top of the garbage and washed it. 212 kills the bacteria, and then
What?
I decided to serve it. Where'd you get it?
No! You didn't! I'm even getting mad. You are an idiot. Oh my God. I'm sorry if I. YouTube, don't blame me for hey. Oh my gosh, I'm being hateful. I'm kind of like over exaggerating myself, but dude, no, don't do that. Here's a rule I have for food. Once it touches the floor or the trash, even the trash bag, I throw it out. I ain't letting contamination screw me over. No, like, what's it called? Rule. What's it called? Have you seen how disgusting food, trash cans are? I have. They are nasty. They are filthy. I'd rather like lick the ground than lick inside the trash can. It's disgusting. People have their snot and boogers over it. Probably not in this trash can, but still. Like you probably get my point. Once that stuff hits the trash, over. Toss it. Do not use it. If any food establishment did this today, they would be shut down faster than a celebrity on Twitter after they get canceled. I tell you.
Oh, no, no way.
She should be disqualified. Get her out.
Out of the trash. You can't just do anything in the heat of the moment.
Julia's quality control kept garbage from being served, and Jen should consider herself lucky Chef Ramsay didn't witness her mistake.
Joanna,
Yes, chef.
made their decision.
Yes, chef.
Who are the team's 2 nominees?
The first nominee, chef, is myself.
And who's the other nominee?
They nominated Julia.
I'm the next nominee, chef.
So we've got 3 nominees. I asked you for 2. Why Julia?
Bonnie and Melissa came to a decision solely based upon her current knowledge of the ingredients and the running of a fine dining restaurant.
Now Jen has thrown herself on the sword.
Yes, chef.
Why have you nominated yourself?
During service tonight, chef, we had a lot of pasta left over, and I threw it in the garbage. Julie said, we have another pasta order. So I quick ran and grabbed it, washed it, put it in a pot of boiling water, 212, killed bacteria.
212? What is that? Is it a chemical? Oh, that's me watching the the social.
Another pasta order. So I quick ran, grabbed it, washed it, threw it in a pot of boiling water, 212, killed bacteria.
Oh, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. Wait, that's not wrong. That's not right. No, 212 degrees Fahrenheit. That can't be the boiling point of water. 212 F2C. Oh, it is, apparently. 212 is 100. I'm wrong. Thanks for correcting me, Google. A little bit of a biology lesson for you. There are some bacteria and microscopic organisms that can survive past boiling point tardigrades. And there are more than just a tardigrade, if I'm not wrong, that can survive past boiling water. It does not matter. The food is contaminated, it needs to be removed from serving.
Julia, aren't you out of your league?
No, I don't. I think that it will really shock everybody to see.
I'm sorry, but she should never be allowed to even run.
Julia, back in line. What you do?
I know that my performance was weak this evening, but I also feel like
trash.
So you've never made critical. You killed someone.
Fucking basics. Stop adding me. I can't gamble.
Let's go.
Yes, Chef.
Only need turning once, Sarah, otherwise they become overcooked,
Yes,
yes?
Chef.
Are they overcooked?
Yes, Chef, they are. Thank you, Heather. I've got it.
Listen,
Yes, Chef.
if you saute scallops in a non-stick pan, they won't stick. That's why it's called fucking non-stick.
That voice crack.
Texas, sweetheart, but fuck me.
Yes, Chef.
Mixed salad, yeah, with plain vinaigrettes for the vegetarian, yes?
Yeah, chef. Links me on this as well, just
Oh, fuck, man. It's the vegetarians. Do you want tuna on this? No.
Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
That's a salad with plain vinaigrette.
Yes, chef. You know, my thing is this. If you're not sure, ask. So, I'll ask. I'll take an ass whipping for it, but at least I know for sure.
There's got croutons in there. Fuck me.
Spicy green salad, chef.
No, I fucking called him green salad. Fucking hell. Always one. Here we go. It's a start. It's the beginning of the end. Hey, is this the wind up now? No, chef. No, plain fucking salad. Did you go to school?
Yes, chef.
You don't know anything. Plain salad?
Yes, chef.
Oh my god! Plain salad!
Chef Ramsay just goes at me hard all the time. And the only reason I can come up with is that she has the actual chef. That's why
What's a plain salad mean here in America? Hey,
just makes
plain fucking salad.
I can't, it's fucking, I can't use it.
Watch out.
I don't be working on it, dude. This is fucking pain in the ass right now. Doing this is intense.
Hello.
Chef, I'm sorry, it's coming right now.
Yes, chef.
Dude, just, it's honestly not. I can't use that.
With dinner service barely underway, Chris is already smoking the pizza.
That's it.
Over in the kitchen,
Ladies, there's two scallops. Hello.
Pizza's not ready to walk.
Keisha has the pizza station under control, and the ladies are ready to deliver their first ticket.
Michelle, I need those scallops. Let's go.
Come here now, Chef.
Speed up.
Yes, Chef. Really? He nailed that. Very freaking intimidating, very scary for me. Alan, walking.
There's no colour on there.
Ew.
Who took these scallops?
Sorry, Chef.
There's no colour on there.
Yes, Chef.
They're white. They're anemic. Get some colour on there.
Yes, Chef. Drop it in the tub.
Joy,
Yes, Chef.
show Rochelle.
Okay. I don't know. We should have been lagging like that with these damn scallops. Maybe like 45 more seconds. Oh my god. Michelle, just get the press. Easy. We don't have time for that. Scallops, Chef. There you go.
That's how to colour a scallop.
With Joy showing Rochelle how to handle a scallop,
Show it, please.
the women bounce back quickly.
Fall behind, guys.
I know, Chef.
Chris is still fumbling on the pizza station,
Bottom first.
and Chef Ramsay is turning the tables on everyone.
Go up, hello. Now, walking.
Hmm.
You're dragging.
That oil through that shit melted. From my eyes. Oh, the second I went to pick it up, the bottom just fell right out. And the oil went right off the flat top.
That kid's like, what? Uh-oh, fire.
I got it.
Unfucking-believable. Smother a flame instantly. It could get fucking worse.
With dinner service almost
That's a weird way to put out a fire, but I can't get them because if you try to put out an oil fire, they'll just flip the top and burn.
where it's all hands on deck at the pizza station.
Can I help you roll one?
Yeah. Cool. Our strategy was one person just banging out the dough, one topping it, and one was gonna man the oven, and that was me. First one.
It's like raw.
Yeah, now they're not rolling it out. No.
Ladies, come here. All of you.
Yes, chef.
The dough is raw. Why? Because it's too thick.
Okay, now try stage number 1. Number 2, I rolled out the dough 3/4 of the way. It's up to you to finish it.
The dough is fucking raw.
Yes, chef.
Come on, man.
Right, chef. I'm trusting my team to help me get the perfect dough out so I can put it in the oven and cook it correctly.
Sorry, man.
What's the problem, Ashley? The garlic is burnt. You need to start over.
Really? You didn't tell Chef Christina? What the fuck, Ashley? Really? Just move along. Move along. Well, the one's on up first. Come on, Chef.
Oh, man. Hey, you two, quick. Come on, speed up, Jackie. Hamming's now. First table, 2 risotto, got 1.5 portions.
Chef, we got it.
Chef.
I don't want Jackie to ruin this for all of us again.
Not tonight, guys, huh? Not tonight.
While there is unhappiness in the red kitchen due to Jackie's subpar risotto, in the dining room,
Doesn't she look lovely? They're so happy, both of them.
the unknowing guests are still enjoying the reception.
It's our Casey. And I can't wait to make your beautiful grandbaby.
Oh, jeez.
Meanwhile, in the blue kitchen,
Blue, here we go. 6 top, 2 risotto, 2 pork, 2 scone.
Yes, sir. We need to stay ahead on this first push, yeah? 2 scallops, 2 prawns, 2 risottos. Go. What do you need?
I need 4. Chef,
I'm trying to wait. I need to wait for the power to get this thing back over to here. This is entertaining.
How many times have I shown you? Out in one go.
All right, yes, sir.
Oh, trip.
Get out here. Walking. Hot sizzle.
What is that?
Hey. No. No, cooked. Oh, man. Righty, come here.
Yes, Chef.
Just touch them. They're on bike. They're so overcooked. It's fucking insane. You can't do that to me.
Yes, sir. All right, it's all about the bounce back.
Just gonna put a.
So, let's go, let's go. You know, but you have to bounce back. You gotta keep going. All right, here's the clean sizzle. Hold right here, right, bro?
1 minute, Scout?
Yeah, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Hurry.
Right, walk these scallops, please. Roger.
with Joe and Chad rebounding from their mistakes.
Come on, let's go.
Both the blue team and the red team
Walk the risotto.
to the dining room.
The shrimp is excellent. Really, really good.
I'm on a 6 number table 10. 2 risotto, 2 pork, 2 scallops.
Yes, Chef.
And right now, the pressure is on Danny to deliver on the
Look at that power line. It's so thin.
Yeah, you let me know.
Danny,
Yes,
are
Chef.
you using a non-stick pan?
I didn't want to stay here and do nothing, Chef.
That's a non-stick pan on the side.
They're right in front of her face. If they're any closer, they burn her fucking nose.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
It's called 911 on her.
Danny, look at me, seriously. Seriously, I'm done. There's a reason why we put these in a non-stick pan. Does anyone...
is responsible for their tables 12.
12 prawns, followed by 12 linguine, 12 risotto, 12 bass, 12 New York strip, and 12 souffle.
Each chef is responsible for a course.
John, give me a time.
8.5 minutes.
8.5, let's go. Red team, 8.5 to the window.
Yes, Chef.
Janelle, drive it, let's go.
Janelle and John come first, and Chef Ramsay expects them to start the night off right by being in perfect sync on the first course. Other coaches spot prawns.
What are those?
Thank you. Fighter class. Let me know when you guys are close so I can drop these heads
Janelle, forward, please. Janelle.
Yes, chef.
I need to hear you.
Yes, chef.
It's your call.
Ladies, one
Look at
minute
me.
till the...
Wake up.
Yes, chef.
You're not even directing anything.
I've got about one more minute on this shrimp. I'm frazzled, but I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna quit.
4.5 minutes to window, Janelle. Let's go.
4.5 hours, chef.
4.5. You got my head?
Heads are good to go.
Tonight, I just want to be able to prove to Chef Ramsay that I can lead this service.
Almost filled up, and there we go.
While the red team watches Ezra's pot, waiting for it to boil, the blue team watches Ray, waiting for some direction. Hey, what's up?
Chef Ramsay can't make the show us how to boil pasta. It's pretty pathetic.
Guaranteed in less than 30 seconds.
How hard is it to fuck up if we evidently have fucked it up?
You done did. Ten times Gordon Ramsay eliminated a chef in the middle of the show.
While Julia struggles to get her station under control, Josh continues to test Chef Ramsay's patience.
What the f is he doing? What? More spaghetti in there.
Sorry.
We cooked spaghetti to order.
Yes, Chef.
Even the f***ing dirtiest, scummiest Italian restaurant in Venice Beach cooked spaghetti to order, you donkey.
Yes, Chef.
Donkey.
What the f*** are you doing?
Yes, Chef.
You're pushing me to the fucking limit, big boy.
I'm sorry, I just love laughing.
An hour into the dinner service, guests are finally getting a taste of Josh's appetizers.
Sorry? Oh my God almighty. Oh, fuck off. Come here, you. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Every table so far, nothing's coming out. You're standing there, you're screwing me, and you're fucking useless. Sorry, Chef. Yeah, do me a favour. Yes, Chef. Take that off. Fucking up out of here. Get out! Give me the jacket. Give me the fucking jacket. Fucking useless sack of shit.
Dang.
30 seconds, Chef.
As LA tries to get up to speed over in the blue kitchen.
Jay, where's the other scholar?
Right here, Chef.
We seen this shit. That's it. I have had enough. Come here, you. You leave it here. Put it down. You come here. You come here.
Yes, sir.
What is that? What is that? What is that? That says out of best. What is it? Wait, it gets better. Look, touch that.
It's rubber, Chef.
Oh,
Gross.
get out! 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 Get out! Out! Get out! Get your jacket off and fuck off!
I guess I don't belong. So let me go. I'm here for a reason. It's my boy and my wife. So, of course I'm disappointed. It was a tough day. Fucked up. My dream when I came to Hell's Kitchen was to win. So, now it's time to move on. Get my own restaurants going. You know, I don't need Chef Ramsay's opinion anymore. I've got it. Tomorrow's another day. Let's do it. But, it's time to Jay Maxwell to do his own thing.
Dude.
I believe we're gonna need some more time from the meat station, Chef.
Talk to me, madam!
I don't know how long, Chef. Really, I don't know. What did he want me to do? Lie to him? Fuck it. I didn't know.
On fire!
Is this your well done?
I don't know.
She was lost.
I don't know what's going on here.
What's the matter with you?
I can't cook meat, Chef.
What do you mean you can't cook meat?
Obviously, I'm way
Hey,
too
madam,
confused.
madam! Get out!
Oof.
Get out!
I want to say he's being a little bit too far, but it is Hell's. They do call it Hell's Kitchen, so.
If you got confused, why didn't you say something?
I did, and then Robert
Huh?
put the chicken, and the chicken went on fire, and
Why can't you just make the effort?
I'm trying to
Get
make
back in
it.
there, make an effort.
Yes, Chef.
Wake up and get a grip! Come on!
Lace, it's me and you. We're here now. Tell me which one would be the well done one.
One of these is well done, and I forgot to
Okay, you know what? Let's pick the smallest one.
this one.
As much as I want her to go on flames, I went over there and tried to calm her down. 2 seconds your attention, all right? Here we go.
What happened? What did you do? What did you just do?
VIP, away, Wellington Lamb Chicken Dory. You, back on your feet.
Yes, chef.
Oh, fuck, no way.
I got you. I got you. When Lacey started losing it, I was like, fuck, here we go.
Can't cook fucking meat.
1 minute to window, yes? Hey, madam, VIP, VIP, VIP!
Yes, Chef, then I need 3 minutes, Chef.
3 minutes, why?
It's
It's
gotta
all
be
there!
every 30 seconds. Madam, where's this? Like, shut up, so maybe I can get you your well done Wellington.
Chicken Lamb Wellington, let's go! You can do one table, surely!
Sure, Chef. I'm just gonna see what happens.
Send it, let's go!
Behind you, Robert. Excuse me, Robert. Behind you, Chef.
Oh my god.
Fuck me.
Come here, all of you! What is that? The fucking bone's thicker than the meat! What is that?
I don't know, Chef.
Good enough! Get out! You're not good enough!
Get out!
It's off! Madam, look at me. Let's be honest, you're done. You can't waste my time any longer.
I agree.
Give me a jacket and leave Hell's Kitchen. And go in there and say goodbye. Properly, say it properly. Let's go.
Thank you for everything.
There's a small violin just for Lacey. And she sucks. Adios, biatch.
Oh my god, that guy is absolutely ruthless.
She sucks.
That guy sounds like a COD gamer.
For everything.
There's a small violin
That guy is ruthless.
And it's a relief. I can get back to my normal life. Now I get some sleep at night. But you know, another thing you wish is to stay and learn more and have that chance to win. But unfortunately, I fucked up tonight, and I can only look back on the positive things.
You good? Just get a little more color on the other side.
Over in the blue kitchen, Louie is hoping this entree is the one to finally make it to the dining room. Louie! What is that?
Ew.
What is that?
Raw.
Like that? Look! That's one, that's the other. It's on the same fucking table!
Louie's lost. He's out of his league.
What's all that here? Look at this! Hey, man! You, hey, Jesus! Stop! Look at this! Look! Look! Look!
What?
What is this?
I'm sorry if I'm immature. I love this. It's like a Call of Duty rage clip, dude. It's priceless.
Want me out? Want me to pack my fucking bags? I'm out. My bags are packed. You can kiss my fucking ass.
I'm sorry, I have to play it one more time.
You can kiss my fucking ass.
Urgently.
Yes, chef.
Milka! Oh, fucking hell. Talk about giving up.
Tonight's not my fucking night.
Don't give up!
I'm not, Chef. I'm trying to push my. I'm fucking up. I don't know why. I'm trying. We were moving, except for one person. Milka.
Watch this coming now.
Here's some bacon.
That's hilarious.
Eat zero sugar. Expertly crafted for zero sugar and amazing taste. And proof that heart. This is what you bring me. Don't touch it, it's piping hot. Hey, stick him up!
Wrong shit.
Come here, you a minute. What's the matter with you? We're halfway through, we started off so... Why can't you come back?
I'm so mad at myself right now because I know I can do it. I'm sorry. I didn't come here to lose. I'm not weak. I don't know about to cry right now.
Get a fucking grip. You can't hack it. You're out. You have to come
I
back.
can do it.
It's now or never.
You're right.
Get in there.
Yes, Chef.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. The chef is on you. The one thing that will save you is if you calm down, get it back together.
I got a sore spot.
Stick it out. You're doing fine.
Great. How did you enjoy the caviar?
Turbot lobster, beef Wellington.
Yes, Chef.
Just focus. Take a deep breath.
Turbot urgently.
It's working, chef.
Listen, don't flip those yet, Buck. They need more color. That's why they're not cooking.
Turbot.
Yes, chef. 30 seconds. Okay, you ready?
I got 30 seconds. Doc,
Yes.
guess what?
Yes, a few more minutes.
If you need more than a minute, you gotta tell me. She'll reach over and help, but at the same time, Coco's gotta step up to the plate and have that station to herself.
Lobster urgently.
Yes, chef.
Slow down.
Just breathe. Breathe. It's gonna be okay.
Fucking up. Just let me do it, please. Just let me do it.
Milka was a mess. She's just fucking crazy. Come on, guys.
Look at this. Look. It's raw. Milka,
Yes, chef.
the lobster is raw. Come here, madam. Come here. Just touch it, will you?
Touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it.
Look at me. Look at me. Put it down. Put it down. Look at me. Look at me. Out. Get out. Benjamin, one lobster. Milka. Get out.
He was angry.
Madam.
Oh my god.
Like a ship by torpedo after torpedo after torpedo. And then finally she just sunk to the bottom of the ocean. And she needed to go.
Chef, please! Chef, please!
Someone walking right now. Walking the ship.
Get out. Get out. God, him yelling is hilarious.
You can just be thrown out in that case. It's that late in the game, man. It's that serious. Get rid. Yep. Sorry, man. It was a pleasure.
Listen, the pleasure was ours.
However, I need your jacket. Just didn't go my way tonight. It was just one bad service too many. Instead of getting a black jacket, they took my blue jacket. My fucking heart hurts right now, man, because it's just fucking close.
While Jackie does her best to keep the diners entertained, back in the Blue Kitchen, Chef Ramsay finds nothing that is amusing.
Where are the scores? Right here, Chef. Right here, Chef.
I ordered it.
Just touch that. Come on, just touch that. Just touch that. Touch it. Look at it, look. Ah!
Dang. Make you his little toy, buddy.
Traffic just went down. I don't know what the fuck happened. No more mistakes. We can't have a shit service. Hannah, where are these extras? Just in our little can?
Proteins in the window, no fucking garnish.
Yes, chef.
What do you think?
Hey, come here. Taste that spinach. Look at the. Oh my god. Just look at the garlic in that.
Oh god.
Taste that. Taste that. Hey, and look, I've now got. Look at that. That's liquid.
Liquid.
Chef, do I need to refire those two halibut?
Depends how fucking slow he is.
I got it. Let me read through it.
Come on, move.
Are you working the station? Can I work the station then?
Well, then work it. Either way, we need garnish. Stop arguing and put the food up.
What are you working? You're working spinach, so what are you doing?
I'm gonna do the lobster.
What is the lobster what?
What's up, the lobster on? Mash. Get the mash
I
ready.
got it. It's ready. Can you stop yelling? When you start giving us what we need, thank you.
Where's the garnish for the Wellington?
Chef, working right now.
What's in your hand there? Come here. Come here. Come here. All of you, come here. Hold that in your hand. The Wellington's in the window. Where's the garnish?
It's in my hand, chef.
In your hand. Ice cold.
You're my best, chef.
Your best is not good enough. Say goodbye. Get out.
Is he? Is Gordon supposed to be this aggressive in this show?
My team is toxic right now, and they don't want me there. It really hurts. It really hurts my feelings, you know? Wait, you don't stick too big money to yes?
Yes, Chef!
What is he doing here?
I don't know, Chef. I don't know, Josh, get out.
Ruin you. Fucking hell.
Okay, manager, potatoes are done.
What are you doing?
My body's going to come back. I believe in myself. I need to be here.
Young man, I put my balls on the line for you big time. Okay? Third ticket tonight, protein in the window. Ice cream garnish. What more can I personally do? Big heart, talented guy, but you are not ready to become my head chef in Vegas. That is it. Over. Give me a jacket now. Let's go. I'm in the middle of service, Josh. I wish you well. Front door. Front door. Good night.
You don't ever want to let Chef Ramsay down, but he knows I'm resilient. He knows I'm a fighter. He knows I have a big heart, and I gave it my all. Although it didn't work out, I know that Chef Ramsay still appreciates me. I wouldn't be surprised if he called me up again. You know, not many people in this world get second chances, but if anybody's gonna get a third chance, it would be me, right?
You know what? Y'all really trying to clown me right now. It's all crazy, man. I'm definitely the oddball out the group. So, of course, whenever anything happens in our kitchen, it's jam.
You need the duck garnish up and out. So you need to put
I gotta fucking go. Won't you not put that garnish?
I'm sure those 2 portions of duck garnish.
You sure don't elite chef? I gave you the
Where's the powder?
It's not tough.
I gave you the creamy lead chef that okay. You need more.
Hey, hold well here with him then. I'm short of the duck garnish. I've got 1 portion out there and barely a third for the next.
You just pulled that from under there, chef. You threw that under there. I gave you enough. You trying to clown me up in here right now. No, you trying to clown me in here right now. I gave you the lead chef.
All of you, come here. All of you, come here. All of you.
Uh-oh. You're about to be the example, buddy.
Peter, yes, chef. Quickly, now, get some more stock in there. It's salty, yes? Yes, chef. It's salty. Get stock in there. Let's go. Where's the pure lentils, please? Let's go.
Add more lentils.
No, put down. We're going to work in there. 1, 2, go. Top it up. Put a little bit butter now. Let's go.
I look like shit in front of like one of the best chefs in the entire world. It sucks.
Where's the mashed potato? Where's the mashed potato?
Right here, chef.
Just give me that pan. It's a Wellington, yes?
Yes, chef.
No, I can't work if you're there, young man.
What do I have up next? It's you, man. You're the director.
Oh my God. Fuck me. All of you booties, come here.
Yes, chef.
What is difficult?
Nothing, chef.
You need to own him. Cut the fucking shit. I'm looking for a leader. Everyone here who can't lead is a chef. To become a head chef like Taha.
Yes, chef. I don't.
You haven't.
I don't.
Take your jacket off and fuck off. Amber, take over.
That lady's just like,
Let's go. Yes, yes, sir.
What happened? You know, if this is what it takes to be an executive chef, the facts are there. I am not ready. I don't believe that every executive chef that's established in the world has gone through all this mental pain and like negativity. No amount of money is worth that stress. I just need to get back home. I miss my family.
5 satisfying moments of karma.
I don't have it right here.
Karma. I love karma. Karma's the best.
Karma. One of the most satisfying things in the world. To see someone get their comeuppance for their wrongdoings, even if it takes some time for that to happen. But when it does happen, especially on a TV show, it makes for some juicy television. What's going on, guys? I'm Flynn Masters, and today, we'll be looking at 5 satisfying moments of karma in Hell's Kitchen. Before we begin, please be sure to hit that subscribe and like button, as this is the place to be for long and short form HK content. With all that said, let's watch the Hell's Kitchen gods take over, and release their karma on Hell's Kitchen contestants for their wrongdoings.
Bloody hell, here I go again.
One of the first moments of karma in Hell's Kitchen came in Season 2. Sarah, who was just a general Nancy character, didn't get along with Virginia whatsoever, and she didn't take her seriously for being one of the weakest chefs on the prep team. So, just to essentially F with her, Sarah sabotaged Virginia in spite during the middle of service.
I'm ready. I'm waiting for your call. Are you ready to play, Chef? I'm ready.
Where's the server?
Chef? I haven't started yet? No. She said that she's ready.
She didn't start cooking it.
She did start cooking it, Chef.
So now you want to start lying to me?
I'm not lying to you, Chef. She said that she's ready when I am. I'm closer to the turtle. I'm ready. Wait for your call. I'm ready.
So, where's the server?
Did I misunderstand you when I heard you say you were ready whenever I am? It was tortellini. I didn't hear turbo. Chef Ramsay can't stand you right now. I don't necessarily see that as such a bad thing. I'm just trying to figure out what happened there. He called me a liar, and I seriously thought you said that we were on the That's what he does, because you know what? He's just making you better. You know, he'd take your friendships and put them aside, and you want the gold ticket. To have Chef Ramsay call me a liar, it just breaks my heart.
Despite being somewhat controversial, Virginia outlasted Sarah's wildest expectations and was able to make it to the Final Four along with Sarah, and would win the Final Four reading challenge, guaranteeing herself a spot in the Final 3. But after a horrendous service, Ramsay revoked her immunity, and thus, Virginia seemed like an obvious goner. However, when she and Sarah were put up for elimination, Ramsay gave Virginia the choice of staying in the competition if she wanted to. And so, Sarah's Hell's Kitchen dream and spot in the Final 3 relied on someone who she considered inferior, sabotaged and spite, and nearly got her eliminated with that sabotage. Safe to say, the decision was an easy one for Virginia.
Well, hell no, I don't want to go. I want to freaking stay. You want to know why? Because I want to.
I respect your decision. Sarah,
Chef.
take off your jacket
Yes, Chef.
and leave Hell's Kitchen.
Maybe I'm just really not good enough to do great things.
No, you're manipulating people.
One of the biggest cliches in Hell's Kitchen is that oftentimes during the reward challenges, when the chefs are asked to choose the dishes to present to Ramsay and the guests, this means that they also have to drop some dishes from the challenge. A lot of times, it's proven to be the wrong decision, as the drop dish ends up being better than one or more of the actual dishes presented. Now, this can be somewhat harsh to criticize, as the chefs have limited time to make this tough decision, but nonetheless, there's been a couple times where this was completely self-inflicted. The first instance came in Season 7, as Benjamin was hell-bent on dropping Siobhan's dish from the challenge, and even still defended his decision after this cost him the challenge. Just one of the many early signs that Benjamin simply did not belong in the final 2 that season.
Decide who has the worst sandwich. 30 seconds. Bread is not good with so soft bread and then
I like my, I don't care.
If I got Siobhan's sandwich when I was eating at a restaurant, I'd be pissed, and I would want my money back.
Who's standing out?
Siobhan, Chef.
Siobhan.
I would not serve that sandwich out of my kitchen.
That's fine. That's your personal opinion.
It's not my personal opinion. This is my professional opinion. If you don't know what you're doing and you just start putting stuff together, and you need to ask for help, you need to do that. I'm purely confident in my decision.
Now, with the score tied, Chef Ramsay is tasting Siobhan's sandwich before he declares a winner.
I actually prefer that to Fran. You should have sent Siobhan's dish instead of Fran's. For that, routine, you win.
And then in the episode 5 reward challenge of Season 9, the red team didn't even bother tasting Carrie's dish, since she was considered their weakest chef. However, after the 2 teams were tied, this decision would end up costing them the challenge, as Ramsay gave the tiebreaker to the blue team, as punishment for the red team not presenting Carrie's dish, as it was a far better dish than Elizabeth's, and most certainly would have earned them a point had the red team been courteous enough to actually choose it.
The red team must choose which prawn dish will be presented, Carrie's or Elizabeth's.
I like Liz's. Look at it.
You're saying you like Elizabeth's. You haven't even tasted Carrie's.
Exactly. Carrie has disappointed us in the past, and I definitely don't want to lose another challenge.
Whose dish are we dropping?
Carrie. Yeah.
Why are we dropping Carrie's?
I think Elizabeth tastes good and looks better.
Can I taste yours, please?
Yes, chef.
Yeah.
I think I would have preferred this to that one, actually.
It's got a great dish. It gives that vibrance in the mouth.
Thank you, chef.
The best dish sat on the side. Blue team, congratulations. Well done.
And a spa. It's probably the best prize we could have gotten, and we lost it.
3.
This next bit of karma might not be satisfying per se, as both parties involved here aren't exactly winnable characters, but nonetheless, I feel like I have to mention it for the video. In Season 4, Matt was constantly underestimated by his fellow Blue teammates, treating him like an afterthought, which infuriated him, as he felt certain individuals, specifically his arch-rival Ben, were hiding behind the other chefs, while leaving him out to dry, and Matt let this be known to Ramsey during his final 10 nomination plea.
I was pushed and bullied off my station tonight, while other members of my team is hiding behind one person.
You keep going, Bobby.
Ben hides Bobby, not me. I don't even have a voice in my kitchen. No one listens to me. I guarantee you, if you put me on the red team, you'll see the failure in the blue team.
Matty,
Yes, chef.
first thing tomorrow morning, you're cooking with the girls.
Why did we choose safe life? We were loading our SUV when...
Donk. That happened to this guy?
Now, say what you will about if Matt was in the right here or not. However, the following episode was simply a karma masterclass. While pretty much the entire blue team, most notably Ben, laughed at Matt's plea, and were certain he would struggle just as bad on the red team, he proved them all wrong, as he carried the red team to victory, being named the best of the worst. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ben had an absolutely horrendous service, and got ripped to shreds by Ramsey throughout the night, much to Matt's approval, as this is exactly what he said would happen to Ben, which led to his elimination.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, Matty's a little bitch anyway, so let him go over there with them. They don't even know what they just inherited. Are you missing Matty? Can't say that I am, Joe. No? No. Does he make you nervous? No, no, not at all. Matt!
Yes, chef.
Come here. Taste that. Very nice. Any questions for the night? Thank you, chef. Yeah, well, thank you. Let's go. That's delicious. We've run out of lamb. Chef, take care of it.
Damn, Jen, and I was the problem over there.
It's easy for you. That's your problem. You've had it easy. You're not even busting your guns.
Karma really bites you in the ass.
If we're not, I'm going to complete my station stretch, Chef.
Ha ha ha.
Turn it off.
Oh man, that is awesome.
Hell's Kitchen tonight. Ben, take your jacket and meet Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, he had that.
Imagine that look externally, but a specific trio in Season 13 teamed up to not only take him out, but take out their inferior competition as well. Before the Episode 4 service of Season 13, Aaron Santos' team came up with a plan to essentially throw the next service by making the rest of their team look bad, so that way they would get eliminated, and thus be a stronger team going forward. Yes, professional chefs truly wanted to not get their customers fed in order to make the kitchen run smoother in the future. Sweet Lord, the irony is off the charts on that one.
Honestly, I say which does
It's Frank, Ryan, Sterling, and Jay. That's who we're going to label as our dead weight to see if they can be turned off.
We have to get half our team kicked out so we can knock somebody off our team that doesn't belong here.
So the three put
What a bunch of piranhas, dude.
Communicate well with their teammates, causing the blue team to lose service. And during nominations, they defended each other while putting the blame on the likes of JR and Frank. So one could say their plan actually worked, as JR was indeed eliminated that night, and thus, the three of them should dominate the blue team kitchen now, right? Well, not exactly. First off, in that service alone, both Steve and Santos had tough nights, as Santos got embarrassed in front of the VIPs and got kicked out of the kitchen, while Steve was put up for elimination by the same teammates he tried to sabotage, which should prove why this plan is so idiotic in the first place.
Come here.
Chef Ramsey says, come here. Your heart just goes to your feet.
What does VIP mean?
Very important person.
Louder.
Very important person.
Louder. Very important person. Chef. Why so wrong? Louder.
He started off strong and kept going down, down, down.
I changed my vote. I'm gonna change my vote to Steve.
And I changed mine for you, boss.
Dude, that didn't work.
But the true karma came later in the season, as Aaron would continue to be inconsistent and ultimately quit at the final 9, with a pathetic quitter label on his head for all of eternity. Santos would be one of the few black jacket chefs in Hell's Kitchen history to not get a send-off video package, while Steve would end up injuring his knee later that season, and was forced to be removed from the competition. Okay, that one might be a bit harsh, but hey, the Hell's Kitchen gods are unforgiving, and the punishments for going up against the club Sterling and throwing dinner services are severe.
I think Sterling should have got home. The guy that thinks this whole thing's a joke and a game.
So 100.
Sterling should up.
I'm in the nation, but then you can't even respect me in my own class. That's real?
You shut the up right now.
Hey, that's real. You just disrespect me like that?
Sterling, if you don't get the away from me, I'm gonna beat the living out of you.
This is bad news. I'm sorry. And I think you know what this means.
Pet Honesty's daily multivitamins will help you start healthy habits for your dog in 1, 3.
Dog.
This Memorial Day at Furniture Row, we're prepping for savings so big, they're packing them in by the truckload. Save $100 on every $1,000 you spend.
Yeah, I have a few that I probably have like at least one crab, but I can't spend it on that.
And whether it was fair for him to be on a station that Ramsey knew he would struggle at, which led to a somewhat controversial elimination. However, the sushi station that night could have been a lot more challenging had poor Curtis gotten some help. Now, yes, the chefs are usually busy on other stations, and can't always help Curtis. But on this night, Rob had multiple chances to slide over to save a sinking Curtis, but refused to help the poor guy, as he relished in seeing his fellow competitor's pain.
Do you believe we're drinking the sushi?
Curtis put the kitchen off to a really bad start.
You know, I could slide over and help, but that's not my problem. Let him sink.
I've got the sushi now with no wasabi. You, up out of here.
But when the ties were turned, and Rob was the one who struggled during service, he also needed and begged for help multiple times throughout the season, only to be ghosted by his fellow teammates, just like he did to Curtis. And the crazy part is, pretty much all his complaints came from Russell not helping. And you know this karma is pretty necessary when you're having to see Russell freaking cut things down, which eventually culminated in Rob being eliminated over Russell after multiple services in a row where Russell refused to help Rob.
Oh, come on. I am in the weeds so high. I don't know which way's up. When are we gonna get a little help in the start? As soon as I can breathe. Russell, thanks you in the weeds and couldn't get to me. I dare you not slide to help me. I'm pissed.
I need an all day on Wellington. I need an all day on chicken. Tell me what I need.
Just a Wellington, right? Russell just wasn't answering me, man. He was not communicating with me.
You gotta talk to me, man. I can't get every answer in my head. Someone else needs this shit on ticket.
Russell definitely could have helped. He's making the garnish board and not letting me know. He gets loud when Chip Ramsey's on our side.
Where we at?
Then, like, it's crickets when he leaves.
Come on, Rob. Get your let's go, guys. How's it coming now, Chef?
Whatever, man.
My decision is...
Hi. God, karma sucks for these people.
Wrong for Russell to ignore Rob, no doubt about it. Hey, come on, we can't end off this video with Russell riding high on the sunset. So let's now fast forward to the finale, where Rob was the last chef chosen by Russell for his finale day. Now, while Russell did many things wrong in this finale, which ultimately cost him an easy Hell's Kitchen win, his worst instance came when he essentially attacked Rob with his cook in the kitchen, which is simply not what any leader of a border restaurant does. Now, while Rob never said he was intentionally sabotaging Russell, something tells me he wasn't exactly disappointed with his bad grade like he would be under normal circumstances. After the way Russell had treated him throughout the competition, it was probably just as happy as before to see Russell's door not open.
Get the veg stuff. Stand there, look around. Come on. I got it. It's right here. Where are you going? Relax. Just sitting here. Come on, bro.
Telling you, little stab.
Step back. Where are you, man? Hey, hey. Don't touch me.
Hi. I'm getting ready to make another set of solar panels. Make. Oh, I'm sorry, I play solo. Nothing bad. The worst team in kitchen nightmare history: complainer, cheater, sexist, and jerk. Well, that's a lineup. Not gonna lie there. That is a lineup. communication, skill, effort,
But it's safe to say,
and accountability, responsibility.
and easy to work with. It's hard to come by in Hell's Kitchen. However, while no team in HK has ever been perfect, some teams stand out more than others for just how atrocious they really are. What's going on, guys? I'm Flynn Masters, and today we'll be looking at the worst teams in Hell's Kitchen history. Now, when it comes to the rankings, I'll not only be looking at how bad they were during services and challenges, but I'll also be factoring in just how unlikable these teams are. Before we begin, if you love Hell's Kitchen, then please be sure to smash the like and subscribe button, as we're building a great HK community on this channel, and I've got plenty of great HK videos coming out.
This is one cursed freaking rover. Ugly, but it gets the job done.
Let's start off with some honorable mentions before we get into the top 5. The Season 9 Red Team could be considered one of the worst teams in terms of likability, but to be fair, that's mostly because of one person. You may consider a lot of the old school teams as some of the worst, but to be fair, it's expected that the talent would be great in early season, considering how new of a concept Hell's Kitchen was, and half the contestants weren't even pro chefs. The Season 15 Blue Team featured some pretty terrible chefs, including a sexist, and only one of its members made it to the Black Jacket. And lastly, the team that just missed making it on my list is the Season 17 Red Team. And remember, Season 17 was an all-star season. How can an all-star team be one of the worst teams ever? Well, when they're terribly inconsistent, and the quote all-stars were only brought back due to their villainous personality, they ended up being a complete train wreck. With those honorable, or in this case, dishonorable mentions out of the way, let's get into what I think are the top 5 worst teams in Hell's Kitchen history.
Let's see it.
Begin with the team coming from Season 8, and I'll be honest, I had a tough time choosing which team should be on the list. As with Season 8 being the weakest group of chefs in Hell's Kitchen history, I knew I had to include at least one of them. However, I think the Red Team just edges out the Blue Team in terms of talent and likability, as long as you don't include one person.
Oh, I can just get the vibes of I'm literally a Facebook mom. I'm a Karen, and I think you should give me your money, your credit card, if you mess up my McDonald's fries. Bruh, that I'm getting I will sue you if you put my name wrong on my Starbucks coffee cup vibes. Like you better get her order right. If you don't, she's gonna call the Olympian gods up on you. They're gonna pull up with Mac 11 and absolutely hose you. You're gonna be turned into like Swiss cheese. Like she will literally pull up, bruh. Like you better get her order on Starbucks. I'm sorry.
Team members to make the Black Jackets this season were easily the most unlikable figures on their original team, with Russell even taking the crown for a lot of HK fans when it comes to the most hated contestants.
It's down dirty. I'm in the trenches. I came out alive and you are in so much trouble, bro.
I wonder if Roger's early presence still had an effect on the team throughout the season, which might explain why they were so bad.
Jealous of me. And that's the only reason why they want to eliminate me, because they know I'm going to win.
The nickname for the number 4 team on the list is Hell's Kitchen, and for the flip team in Hell's Kitchen is the Red Team from Hell's Kitchen Season 10. Now, and in fact beat them 6-4 when it came to reward challenges. But man, the fact that they even won one challenge this season is incredible in its own right, with how bad the personalities were on this team. Kimmy, Robin, and Tiffany are some of the worst female personalities to ever step foot in Hell's Kitchen, as they constantly got into fights, and for some reason, had it against Barbie from the start.
I'm gonna get that bitch out of here, Barbie baby dog. I'm gonna beat this bitch's ass.
Mad? I can just tell, like the personality, tell that they do not take anything seriously, they do not take accountability, they are not responsible, and as a food worker, I'm not a professional food worker, but as a person who works in the food industry, this is the thing that really destroys, like, workplaces. Everybody needs to be able to like each other to a degree in the workplace. You guys need to learn how to respect each other, because if that does not happen, that results in poor productivity, poor sales, and then failure.
Really as bad as their personalities, they certainly weren't perfect. Danielle, Roshi, and Brianna all struggled during their short time on the red team. Kimmy's worst performance came on the other night, and season 10 was of course the season of the pickouts, and there was a plethora in the red kitchen this season.
Walk again, pink and bloody in the middle. I want more pink. Get out! First man, get out. Get out. Today we need, look at me, a thermometer. Get out!
Dude, I love that. I love the fact that he just gets so insane.
So between the appropriate nickname and the overall inconsistency, I think it's fair to say the Season 10 Red Team deserves a spot in the top 5. Oh well, at least this team gave us the legendary Christina Wilson. If this list was based strictly on how unlikable these teams were, then there's no doubt this team would be number 1. At number 3 is without question the most hated team in Hell's Kitchen history, the Blue Team from Season 16. Seriously, what in the world was production thinking, casting so many douchebags on one team? I mean, let's go through the list of assholes on the Blue Team. To start off, there's John, who was always putting the blame on others, and was one of the biggest culprits of the overall bullying that took place on the Blue Team this season.
That's not good.
Misogyny was on full display in the absolute most disgusting of ways. Speaking of misogyny, arguably a top 5 Hell's Kitchen douchebag came from this Blue Team, with that being Matt Hearn. Matt was also a constant bully, and notably was always putting down the women. But what makes Matt stand out so much is that he didn't even show respect to Chef Ramsey.
Chef Ramsey is an asshole. Like I have one bad night, sir.
No. No. Don't you dare disrespect Ramsey as a chef. He has what's called I think it's what it's called. A Michelin star, or an M star I like to call him. Do you know how insanely hard, how absolute difficult it is to get an M star? Only the best chefs in the world get M stars. You can get multiple. There's only like what? Probably less than 100 chefs in the entire world that have the honor of bearing an M star. If I don't care what I'm doing, like, he earned that position. I'm respecting him. He absolutely deserves what he gets. Because he worked so hard, he spent decades of practice and all that stuff, and all that, and all that stuff. I don't get people that go in your, or whatever, like, dude, I hate to say this, but he's better than you. Like, he's a better chef than you. He has more experience.
I go home. The whole time I've been here has been nothing but disrespect.
No. Oh my god, I can just tell. No. You are not. You're saying that just to be all tough. I bet you. Okay, I'm gonna take a bet. If you had to fight Gordon Ramsay, cockroach, dude, he would knock your light. It'd be like it'd be lights out in one hit, my guy. You would not do anything. His punch, like, he'd probably make Russian like slap artists freaking cry. Didn't Gordon Ramsay go boxing? He belt in karate. He loves boxing. Yeah, I would really rethink saying that you're gonna F up somebody who has a black belt. You would absolutely get curb stomped. Rethink that. Like, fall back and cry, dude. You are not doing anything against Gordon Ramsay.
Paulie was a complainer and was always putting the blame on others, especially during the endgame. And then of course you have Andrew, who literally cheated on his fiancée on national TV to be with Heather.
Wow.
You know, we're out here enjoying the moment, and she's a good girl. So hey, am I gonna flirt with her a little bit? Maybe.
Wow, you are.
Probably not gonna be a strong player.
Wow.
Talent-wise, they stunk as well, as the red team beat up 8 of the 10 choices, and they got kicked out a record 7 times. And Paulie, of all people, was the best chef to come from that team. I mean, Paulie is a fighter, but when someone as inconsistent as him ends up being the only competition for Heidi, Heather, and Ryan, you know these teams are lopsided. The only positive for the season 16 is that they actually did have the upper hand over the red team when it came to the challenges, winning 7 of 12, and that's the only thing that keeps them from being the worst team in Hell's Kitchen history.
I don't know why you even look at me. Like, just stop talking to me for the rest of the season. Thank you. Good.
I'm not drinking the haterade, but Jessica, shut the f*** up.
What a jerk.
Nobody likes you.
I like Bro.
Nobody likes you.
That's not true.
I know most people consider this team number 1, especially since this team's failures was the main driving point of the season. But at number 2 is the blue team from season 11. I mean, what can you say? There was 14 challenges that season, and they only won 2 of them. And the second one just so happened to come after Janelle, the winner of the season, joined Zach and John at the final 6. While it wasn't quite as lopsided as their service-wise, this season's blue team still had some pretty bad chefs who made some all-time bad mistakes. Sebastian is one of the most notorious personages in Hell's Kitchen due to his less than serious attitude.
Becky, we got lots of me. Becky, Wendy. Sorry, I apologize about that, Chef.
Yeah, do me a favor. Get out.
Yes, Chef.
Off with you.
Barrett and Jeremy made some of the worst mistakes in the show's history, as Barrett committed 2 deadly acts in back-to-back services, while Jeremy made, in my opinion, the dumbest mistake of all time in Hell's Kitchen.
See those 6 glamorous ladies, slightly older? Yeah? And look. Oh my God.
I wanted a degree, but 4 years to get one? No thanks.
That's why you forge your signature and then change your identity, change your gender, change your entire name, and then you go underground. It works for everybody. Give it a try. I guarantee if you just stick to it, you can do it.
The parchment on it, man? What, you trying to kill people?
Hey! For Chef James's wife, pink chicken, Chef James.
No!
She's pregnant.
No pink chicken, that will screw you up. That will mess you up, man.
Hey, all of you, come here. Some disgusting pig brought me the sample scrambled eggs. The sample scrambled eggs that I cooked an hour ago.
Make sure you guys study the sample plates.
To say Dan and Ray didn't act their age would be an understatement, as Dan was the definition of a whiner and complainer, while Ray was constantly getting into petty arguments with Dan, and his kitchen etiquette wasn't great considering he had been a chef for over 30 years.
Raymond, taste that. Fingers. Spoons are everywhere.
Ray, you just stuck your finger into a risotto in front of Chef Ramsay in Hell's Kitchen. That's just...
Other than the fact that they competed pretty well against the red team when it came to the services, the main thing that keeps this team out of the top spot is due to the 3 great chefs of John, Anthony, and Michael. John, of course, was a beast, and Michael and Anthony should have both made it much further, but were unfairly eliminated over the inconsistent Zach, as Ramsay and production likely knew that keeping Zach around would give them the best odds at creating a female-dominated black jacket group to keep in line with the theme of the season. And yeah, if that wasn't indeed the goal of production, Zach proved to them that it was smart to keep him around for as long as possible.
Hey, look at me. Come on, shut down.
Don't shut down on me, Zach.
No, I'm not shut down.
Zach's got 9 lives, man. But with 3 people in the kitchen, now the spotlight's on you.
In my opinion, the worst team in Hell's Kitchen history is the red team of season 7. I mean, seriously, where do you start with this team? Let's go over the stats first, with the most shocking and pathetic stat of all, being that they did not win 1 dinner service. Okay, technically they didn't lose the episode 4 service per se, as that was a good service for both teams, but still, how can you not beat the blue team 1 time? Their challenge performance isn't much better, as the blue team beat them 7-3 in that department as well. Meaning that the red team actually beat the blue team only 3 times combined, between the challenges and dinner services. And yeah, just taking one look at the red team, you can understand why they went down as the worst team ever, as their skills and personalities weren't even close to average. Stacy, Jamie, and Maria were all pros in early food. Siobhan cracked under the slightest bit of pressure. Fran was a Karen in the kitchen, who somehow made it all the way to the final 8, despite Liddy having 1 good service, and even then, she couldn't help but screw up.
Second nominee and why?
My second nominee is Nelka.
It would have been nice for you to let me know that, though. Don't just bring up and surprise me.
No Scott.
No.
Malcolm,
Yes, Chef.
you had a bad service, but not as bad as these 2 back in line.
Absolutely, Chef.
And stand close to Fran.
Speaking of milk, though, despite being one of the better chefs on the red team, she would go on to have the biggest meltdown in Hell's Kitchen history.
Milka!
Yes, chef.
The lobster is raw. Out. Get out!
Yes, chef.
Take your jacket off and go!
Please don't say that.
Yeah, we just saw that.
Due to all this losing, Chef Ramsay was forced to send 2 men over to the red team to save them, but both of them not only fought as leaders, but were absolute assholes as well. The first one to be switched was Scott, the definition of someone who is all bark but no bite.
I just bust ass every day. I have a calmness about me during service, no matter what the stresses bring. I'm the best cook in this team, the best leader in this team. I can accomplish.
I can't take it anymore. Come back in line.
This team will die if I'm not here.
Scott, give me a jacket.
I certainly am the best cook on the red team, but when you're working with teammates that aren't as qualified to be there as you are, it makes it hard.
And then there's Benjamin, a top-tier chef in the show's history. But man, when he was switched to the red team, it was almost like he became a different person, as he wasn't nearly as consistent after the switch, failed to lead them to any victories, and good God, out of nowhere, he became an absolute asshole.
What do I do for side?
I love rice. I love mashed potatoes.
I'm not a big fan of rice in restaurants because it's like poor food.
Rice is poor food.
Poor food?
Wow.
I really do want
Guys, rice is cheap. That means it's poor food. Okay, so you consider, let's see, milk. Milk's kind of cheap. You know, yeah, you consider that poor food. We also got tomatoes, and like literally most fruits, most vegetables that you could buy. But that's poor food, guys. Why are you eating rice? You know, you're poor, bruh. Are you stupid? Not that rice is expensive, but rice is one of the biggest foods industries in the world. There's a like, let's go. You know, I know how much rice is consumed on a daily basis. It is dumb. If rice went away yesterday, like the world would end. I'm telling you.
I know season 7 and 17 were filmed nearly 10 years apart, and a person can change dramatically in that time period. But when you compare Benjamin from season 7 to 17, it's literally like watching 2 different people. The obvious redeeming quality about this team is that it produced the winner of the season in Holly. But even then, she's regarded as one of the weaker winners, with most people agreeing that Jay deserved the win over her. So between the terrible stats, awful individual performances, and nasty personalities, there's no doubt in my mind that the red team of season 7 is, and always will be, the worst team in Hell's Kitchen history.
Get out! Get out! Get out! Out! Get out! Get out!
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more unique Hell's Kitchen content like this, then please be sure to smash that like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below on which team
Entire history of bad signature dishes.
The Signature Dish Challenge has been a staple over the now 21 seasons. As this get the show off their skills of Chef Ramsay, and welcome Chef Ramsay to the first impression on Ramsay. Other chefs have had quite the opposite effect due to how terrible their dish was. What's going on, guys? I'm Flip Masters, and today we'll be looking at the worst signature dishes in Hell's Kitchen history. And this isn't just a basic top 10 ranking. We'll be going through every season of Hell's Kitchen and pick out the worst of the worst when it comes to these dishes. Before we begin, if you love Hell's Kitchen and want to see more content like this, then please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. As with season 21 officially underway, there's no better time than now to join the great community of HK fans on this channel and enjoy these fun videos. With all that said, strap yourselves in, everyone, because we've got 20 seasons worth of bad plays to go through.
Bloody hell, here we go again.
The season 1 Signature Dish Challenge was for many Americans, their first real chance to see Gordon Ramsay on screen. And boy, did he make an impact 15 minutes into the series opener. I think the dishes that stand out most to me here are Chris and Andrew's, as yes, while you could argue chefs like Dewberry had worse plays, it was Ramsay's brutal insults to the cocky Andrew and Executive Chef Chris that showed these chefs.
I think I'll have to do like another container full of materials to get this thing done.
It's called Andrew's Absolute Penne. Andrew's Absolute Penne. Correct. That is absolute dog. Could use some salt. You think he's smart, yeah? Time my moments. And how long have you been cooking? About 10 years. What a waste of 10 years.
Get back in line.
Night chef, Chris. Executive chef.
Executive chef.
Executive chef.
I think you're a plank.
Well, I don't know.
I think he was an idiot.
Plank means an idiot. You need to clean your glasses. It's raw. I don't agree. Let me tell you something. And listen to me. You've got a lot to learn. So be a good plank. Get back in line.
Thank you, chef.
Season 2 arguably produced the worst signature dishes in the entire show, as the only two dishes to receive praise were Giacomo and Heather. And even then, Ramsey was pissed at Heather for making a dessert as her main dish. But the two dishes that stand out most to me are Polly and Tom, as Ramsey was absolutely ruthless to the two. And it would be a foreshadowing of just how poorly they would perform in Season 2, as to this day, they're both still considered donkeys of Hell's Kitchen.
It's an undone focaccia bread with a garlic dipping oil.
Undone. What does that mean, undone?
It means it's not done.
Oh my god.
What?
Right now, I'd rather eat poodle than put that in my mouth. Back in line. First time in my entire life, I've been served a cooked Caesar salad. I understand that, chef.
What?
Disgusting. Let's move the Caesar salad off. There you go. Appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you. God. Tom, got back the Caesar salad. Thank you, chef.
If he didn't care, he wouldn't break my chops.
In Season 3, we saw two huge no-nos this season when it comes to the signature dish, as Vinny questioned Ramsey's remarks about his dish, while Rock served up frozen food, the first chef to do so for this challenge, which of course would end up becoming one of Ramsey's biggest pet peeves, as there's not many other things you can do to make a worse first impression than serving a Michelin star chef prepackaged food in your first attempt to
Michelin, yep.
Chorizo encrusted pink snapper?
Where the snapper? That's the snapper there.
Yes, sir.
You can really seriously eat all that without burning your mouth? What a disappointment.
I don't think so.
Now you want to argue. Back in line. And I'm excited you had time to make gnocchi.
I didn't have time to make it.
It was wrong. You served me frozen gnocchi. But the execution sucked.
I just didn't execute my own freaking signature dish well.
Back in line.
Season 4 is right up there with Season 2 in terms of terrible signature dishes, as Ramsey even questioned this group of chefs after he was done tasting every dish. But without question, the two worst dishes came from Matt and Petroza, as Petroza served Ramsey a freaking pumpkin, while Matt literally made Ramsey physically ill.
Things might be looking up.
Oh, me.
Or are they? What did you do to it to get it in there?
I got in there. I got it.
Holy.
Some butter in there.
Some butter in that?
Ew.
There's a lot of butter.
Stop there. Yeah.
Okay.
That goes in there. Yeah. And let's see what we've got for trick or treat, shall we?
Okay. It's
Off we go.
presented like
Yeah,
that.
perfect. Right, take your time.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Oh my god. What's the dish called?
Hen and a pumpkin.
Right now, looking at that mess, I'd like to stick your head in there, you know. You had more chance of sticking a candle in there, making me happy. For Halloween, you weren't sticking a hen in there.
He was looking for something memorable, and I believe that my dish was memorable.
For being trash.
Lime zest, olive oil, scallops, caviar, and grated white chocolate.
Fish and white chocolate do not mix. It's like mixing oil and water. They don't combine. Him spitting out food is so rare.
The worst combinations I've ever tasted in 21 years of cooking. Piss off with you.
Season 5 was marked as the first true good signature dish challenge, as chefs like Carol, G, and Andrea really shined here. However, there were still many chefs who stood out for all the wrong reasons, with the glaring ones being Colleen and Steph, as not only did their dishes suck, but their reactions to the criticism of Ramsey made it all that much worse.
What the size of it?
Big brass boys. Did you like teaching at Young
No, I'll bite it myself. $300 to teach people how to make that crap.
Yes, chef. I teach manners too, chef.
Say again? Okay, please. Miss Manners, off back in line. The ratatouille, what's in there?
Tomatoes, onion, tomato sauce, a little bit.
That's the worst dish I've ever tasted. 15 years to cook that, and you're laughing. Make history. We'll be the fastest exit in Hell's Kitchen. Back in line.
In season 6, we had two of the more odder signature dishes, as not only did Amanda and Melinda do very poorly, but they had very strange presentations as well.
2 seconds. I need to grab one thing.
What's that?
Tequila.
Tequila. You're cooking me a slice of toast dipped in egg.
Yes, chef.
With
Tequila.
to get me drunk.
Give me a lot more. Keep on going.
What is going on here? I don't even know.
My dish. It's very rich and succulent. And luscious
Succulent.
And velvety. Satisfaction it comes.
Dude, take it out of context, I'm sorry.
I had some challenges.
Where's the tail? Absolutely pathetic.
That's another 0.
There's 3 standout dishes from season 7, as they're all distinct in their own way. First up, you have Scott, immediately getting his ego put in the check by Chef Ramsay.
It'll be a struggle for me to be a cook amongst other cooks, because I've become accustomed to being a chef amongst cooks. I would be embarrassed to finish second place.
I mean, it's rather pathetic. There's not one appetizing ingredient.
Then there's Jamie, who made arguably the most dangerous signature dish mistake in Hell's Kitchen history.
What in the is
That is too thick. Please don't eat that.
Did that hit someone's throat? I'm not even gonna taste it.
Pretty much a lot embarrassing.
And lastly, there's Salvatore, an Italian man who didn't even make his own pasta.
Bucatina matriciana.
You made the bucatini. You made your own.
That didn't make chef.
An Italian that doesn't make his own pasta from Naples. Embarrassing. Point hilarious.
Season 8, of course, gave us the legendary Raj, and right away, we got a glimpse into the train wreck he would end up being this season, as he literally made his food take a piss. You know, that's actually more impressive than anything.
This is a seafood vegetable pancake.
My God. That is a pancake?
It's a, yeah.
Does that look like a pancake?
What? That is not a pancake.
Going for a piss? A pancake that pisses.
And then there's Antonia, who despite only lasting half an episode, would forever integrate herself into Hell's Kitchen lore, as she made, in my eyes, the worst signature dish in Hell's Kitchen history.
It's a Mardi Gras gumbo.
Oh, God. Does it normally look like a plate of liquid?
No, it's gonna be good.
Excuse me. Now. Are you crazy?
I'm sorry it wasn't up to par.
Up to par? It's unedible.
Oh my God.
1,
I don't even know how to explain that.
2, 3, 4,
Dear, oh dear.
I mentioned
5,
how Rock was really the first person ever to make a pre-packaged dish in Hell's Kitchen. Well,
7,
after Rock got a earful about it from Ramsay in season 3, it appeared that chefs learned a
9,
lesson about breaking his cardinal sin.
10,
But in season 9, Jonathan made a
11,
dish with such little effort that it got him
12,
to be eliminated on the spot.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20.
I'll pay for the tickets.
I'm gonna do 21. That panels. So we need at least 1.5. We need 1.5 cans of material. Which shouldn't be that too hard.
Sugar in there. Who in their right mind would put sugar in
What? What did she just say? I'm not even gonna repeat that! What did she What? 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 My face is going red right now! What did I just hear? What is that? What? I'm not even gonna repeat that! That is awful! Oh my god! No! That is so gross! No! It's so bad! That's so atrocious! I have to get a drink after that! Oh my god! That's so atrocious.
Exactly look appetizing, does it? No, it's like you've got 4 bits of arsewipe on a plate. Spicy some raw, bland, my dear. Yeah, that is crapper.
In season 10, we had 2 very bad dishes, but they were bad for polar opposite reasons. On one hand, you had Guy, who flat out told Ramsey his dish sucks, while on the other hand, you had Rod, who was insanely cocky about his dish due to being an
That sauce that burnt. Sauce got burnt. Telling me not to try it. I am, because his execution is poor.
put in your mouth. Good.
Don't put it in your mouth, that's not good.
It's not for eating.
You're 22, and you're an executive chef. Execution is poor. Oh, don't say that, Guy.
Don't put it in your mouth. It's not good. It.
Sauce got burnt. Telling me not to try it. I am, because his execution is poor. Oh, don't say that, Guy.
Don't put it in your mouth. It's not good. It's not good. It's not for eating.
You're 22.
Yes.
And you're an executive chef running a brigade of chefs.
Yes.
Well done.
Yes.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Not to try it.
I am.
Put in your Don't put it in your mouth. It's not good. It's not good.
What?
Put it in your mouth. It's not good. Don't put it in your mouth. It's not good. It's not good.
How much?
A lot more than a drizzle.
I mean, it's hideous. I mean, really bad. Congratulations, ladies. Good job. That's a mess.
That's the first time anybody's was so up on so many different levels. This is horrible.
Alfredo, my ass.
In season 11, for the first time in Hell's Kitchen history, the signature dish was done in front of a live audience, and thus began 6 seasons worth of cringy reactions. There were a plethora of bad dishes this season, but the two that stand out to me are Susan and Jeremy. As they in fact went head to head with each other. Their dishes would be a foreshadowing of things to come for the two this season, as Susan had her first of many struggles with the lamb, while Jeremy didn't even know what was on his own plate. Man, what a train wreck.
Well, no, it's not a ribeye chef.
What is it?
I think it's a, I think it's ribeye. I'm sorry, chef.
You think it's ribeye?
Yes,
It
chef.
looks like a ribeye. So you're a lead cook and you haven't got a clue what you're cooking. When you slice it to a steak of that quality, you destroy the fibers and the texture. You just...
Sorry, chef.
Now, first off,
Yes,
how many fingers have I got up?
Hi.
So you're not blind. Because I can see from here that your lamp is absolutely raw. Are you seriously trying to kill me? Do you want to go
Oh.
Sorry. Couscous is overcooked and the lamb's raw. No points.
There's this one video of Gordon Ramsay.
Remember how I said earlier how
There's little Gordon. Oh, I love this video though. It's a video of Gordon Ramsay as a kid. Whoever acted, okay. Okay, I mean serious. Like the kid actor in this skit is actually pretty good. Like he plays into Gordon's character so good. It's actually like really impressive. I don't really get that impressed either. Like by acting.
Just stop, yeah? Stop and think for a minute. What did I tell you last week about the bread? Embarrassing. Oh, that's it.
Literally all spoiled kids when they get like the most fanciest stuff with garlic and gold leaf on it.
Embarrassing.
Oh my god, that is funny. Hmm? C Ramses. How many that's not? I mean, how do you expect us to hide from a tornado? Oh yeah, this looks like it's gonna be.
Alrighty, guys, it's time to look over your files. Oh, okay, guys, when it says find X, I don't mean to circle X. Okay, I'm not gonna name names. It was Edwin. Okay, you know what, Edwin? Go ahead and say that for me, bud. Let that shame marinate. Alright, let's also maybe quit it with the eyeballs. I don't know what that. It was me. Yeah, we know. It's always you.
Wait, are they using the Andover tornado footage?
It was me. Yeah, we know.
Let's see.
It's always you.
Yep, they are. They're using the Anderson's Andover. Yeah, guys, what's it called? What's it called? Yeah, the procedure of the tornado is to bend over and duck down and cover your head, which is a good idea. Although, in my opinion, it may be a stupid idea. Crowd at the bathrooms. Crowd. Excuse me. Sent the lowest and central part of the building. If there is underground portions, flood as many people in there as possible. God.
Wait, get closer. Mr. Becky, my kneecap's really hard. This is why we trust the protocol class. I just caught wind that there's a second tornado right above the building. Can someone please tell me whether a tornado is a solid liquid or a gas? Anybody but Piper?
Yes. Yeah, that's dumb. Oh yes. Ranking the 50 state capitals.
Day 1, the hardest day. The day you hear.
I'm sorry, this is a type of blood cancer.
At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Oh, leukemia is a blood cancer. I didn't know that. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so time to focus on Springfield. Springfield. My quote about Springfield, quote, "It looks like Moscow." End quote. Yes. That's a thing. I really do think that that Springfield looks like Moscow. It does. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the Springfield Capitol is amazing. Actually, the Springfield, like Lincoln Museum, if you want to pick up a steel wheat penny or bicentennial with a wheat penny in it, that's a really great place to go for a nice little set. The museum there, if you guys do go down to the museum, I recommend you guys pop down, go visit Lincoln Memorial Museum, and visit the graveyard where he rests. It's a really good experience, and you get to learn a lot, and you can get some nice things. I went to that museum and I got this penny, this replica, almost exact, except for, you know, it doesn't rotate like this. You know, you're supposed to rotate like this, and the side would be up down. I got this penny. Here's a part of the cover I have for my bicentennial set. Alright, that bicentennial set is like right behind me. Here I got this. Here's my set of pennies. There's a steel penny, there's a wheat cent, there's a shield cent, memorial cent. I can't. It's funny, but I can't say what it is. I'm just. I can't say it on YouTube or else I get banned. Or not get banned, but I'd probably get. Guys, this is being added. Oh my god.
Howdy, it's Kyle with a video ranking the 50 state capitals. When I say capital, I'm talking with the OL at the ends of the buildings, not the city itself. A state capital is the most prominent physical symbol of your entire state. It should be something that people from that state walk by or drive by and are proud of. They see something as a nice symbol of their state, but is also aesthetically pleasing. I've personally visited 40 of the 50 state capitals, and I hope to someday visit all of them, but whenever you do a ranking video, of course it's going to be all opinions and an eye of the beholder, so think of this video more like an overview of the 50 state capitals, just presented in my personal favorite order. I'm going to start the state ranking with the worst capital in the country, and that's Alaska. This looks like just a regular old bank building in a downtown. And I get that Alaska is a lightly populated state and Juneau's a pretty small town for a capital, but at the same time, this cannot be your state capital. This cannot be the building that represents your state. And Alaska might move its capital to Anchorage, which would make a lot of sense for them. But for right now, this is the state capital, and it's the worst one in the country. Nevada is the first of many where the building itself is nice, it's nice architecture. It just isn't a good building for your state capital. It just isn't prominent enough, and it doesn't have to be large, but at the same time, it does have to be a little more prominent than this. And I do like the Silver Dome. Nevada is a silver state, but overall, this cannot be your state capital. It looks more like a library. The first time I saw Virginia's, I was like, wow, that's a really nice governor's mansion. What? That's the state capital? The building behind it would be another state capital. Virginia is far too important of a state from a population perspective and from a historical perspective for a building like this to be the state capital. It looks more like a blank beach house. New Jersey's is like a haphazard mishmash of different architectural styles. It doesn't really look good together. And it's hard to get a good picture of it too because the dome is set way back. You have to be pretty far back from the building. It just looks weird with all these wings that don't quite fit together. So it's kind of a mess. Florida is another one that I just really don't like. It's got this building in the front that looks kind of like a plantation house, and then this stupid-looking office tower behind it. It just doesn't look right. Visual pictures of it always show it from a close-up angle to where you can't see how stupid the high-rise behind it looks. There's nothing inherently wrong with a high-rise.
It looks like a wiener. Oh my god! Oh, that's a big L! Oh my god! You can't be joking! It looks like a dong! Oh my god! How do you mess up this bad?
It just doesn't look right as a state capitol. Building it, but didn't finish. Dome thing on the top.
Oh my god, I can't.
This isn't a very good building.
I'm sorry, my autism showing again.
North Carolina is another one where it looks like it would be a different type of building. It looks more like a Supreme Court building. And you can't even see the dome from ground level. And it just doesn't look quite right as a state capitol. It's a small building for a big state, and it just doesn't really represent the state very well. Ohio's capitol looks more like a city hall, and that rotunda thing on top looks like it wasn't finished. Within the setting of downtown Columbus, it just doesn't look quite right. And it doesn't have to be a huge building, because a lot of these buildings were built before these states were heavily populated, but this still doesn't look quite right for a state capital. And nowadays, that Ohio is a huge state, it definitely looks very underwhelming. You see Oregon's, and you're like, what the hell is this stupid looking thing? It looks like the building that would be the headquarters of a cult, like the Scientology building.
Scientology.
It's a weird building for a state capital, and yeah, Oregon's a pretty weird state, and I do kind of like the architecture of this building. It's just a terrible building for a state capital. North Dakota has probably the saddest state capital in the country, in that the original one burned down during the Great Depression, and during that time the state didn't have the money to build a nice new one, so they went kind of cheap. We'll just build some kind of normal-looking office tower that's pretty ugly. But I wish they would have had the foresight to know that this will be the building that represents your state for eternity. So go ahead and spend the money, even if it's during the Great Depression. Find a way to build something nicer than this, because now they're stuck with this ugly office tower forever. In my opinion, Michigan has the ugliest state capitol with the traditional style dome. The dome itself looks like it went through a vice grip and is being squeezed, and it doesn't match the building. It looks like the building itself went through a dust storm, but they didn't power wash it afterward. Then they added this dome that doesn't match it to the top.
What is a UIT? What does my state capital look like? I have to see this. Okay, I don't know this. Almost. Let's see. It doesn't look bad. I mean, it's kind of stereotypical capital, but not bad. I like it. It's pretty okay. I would say 7 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10. Pretty okay. Wiener.
But I wish they would have done something more like their original state capital, which was kind of French style architecture. And that would look really good from Louisiana. French heritage and also, you know, this building looks like a pretty cool downtown office complex building. It's not a great state capital. I'm not knocking Delaware because of the size. It's a small state. It doesn't need to have a giant state capital. This particular doesn't look like it would be a state capital. It's more like the oldest building on university campus. You know, nice stuff looking building, just not a good state capital. Hawaii's is probably one of the most polarizing of the capitals, and it's not a very traditional looking building, but Hawaii is a very unique state, so it shouldn't have a traditional looking capital building. But a lot of folks would say it looks kind of ugly, but I think it looks a lot better if you look at it in the context of downtown Honolulu. It really stands out. And it does look like a state capital.
That looks kind of cool.
I think it's okay, but not one of the best. Along those same lines, Mexico has a very unique style capital. It's very polarized. Around a little, and a traditional style capital really weird downtown cities. I think it's an okay capital.
I mean, I do like how it has the 4 areas because kind of like the the number 4 is very significant in New Mexico. 4 seasons, 4 spots of the sun and moon, noon, midnight, sunset, sunrise. The quarter of the New Mexico quarter, I think it's the New Mexico State quarter, not the American People quarter, but one of them, I don't care. It's beautiful. I love it.
Overall, the building itself is pretty nice, but not one of the best neoclassical architecture. The small size of New Hampshire's capital works well for a small state. And from this point forward, I like all the capital buildings. Nothing nitpicky. The thing I don't like about this one is that the dome doesn't quite work right with the rest of the building. They're very much light contrast and color between the dome and the building. But this one looks like it wasn't trying to be contrasting. It's just the 2 different parts of the building didn't phase at the same rate. So I think it's an okay building. It's just not one of my absolute favorites. Maryland is another one where the building looks like it might be something other than the state capital. And then it brings other states low because of that. But the reason why I'm not making Maryland low is because the oldest state capital still in use. Most of the other states built a brand new state capital at some point because the state got more larger with population. If you were size, you need to expand and build a brand new building. Maryland said, screw that, we're keeping the old one. And it looks really good within the very historic downtown Minneapolis. So it is probably the best one that doesn't look like a state capital. Massachusetts is one that looks really unique and I like the look of it, but I don't really like the wings that were added to it. It's really a hatchback. It matches better than, say, the stuff that was added to New Jersey's, which just looks like a drunk person with all this stuff together. So it looks, I like the gold dome on top, but overall, this building isn't one of my absolute favorites. Georgia has another very classy state. Here is that the state capital grounds are tiny. From the front steps of the Capitol onto the busy street in front of it. So to get a picture of it, you have to be in the road. The way I had to do it on a Sunday when no one's around to get a picture of it. The grounds itself don't really work. The building is okay, but again, I'm at the point in the video where I'm nitpicking. Maine is another one that plays it safe with traditional neoclassical architecture, with a big dome on top, but it looks nice. The only issue I have with it is that the dome doesn't quite work well with the building. It's a little bit off. Kind of like its neighbor to the west, New Hampshire. The contrast isn't enough to look good. It looks like it's not trying to be contrasting. It's just faded the same rate. So, not one of the best. Washington has that traditional style capital
Old.
building. I do like it. It looks very good, but nitpicking here. It looks kind of like a Supreme Court building with a giant dome on top. It also looks kind of dirty. Like it needs to be
Kind of does look dirty.
or something. So it is a classy looking stately building, and it's obviously a state capitol building, but overall still not one of the best. Idaho has a nice stately looking building, but just like Michigan, it looks like it went through a dust storm and they didn't clean it off afterward. And a lot of states can pull that look off where it's a brown or tan tinge to it, but for Idaho it doesn't look like it was meant to be that way. It just looks dirty. Size-wise, Montana's capital is pretty fitting for a state with its population. It does follow that same traditional architectural style, but the dome on top is pretty unique. And this is the kind of contrast I like between the dome and the regular part of the building. So some of the other states, the dome didn't quite look contrasting enough. this one does have a pretty good contrast. Out in the front of the state house in Montana is really cool because they do different types of landscaping each year, especially different design depending on the year it is. So overall, I think Montana's state capital is pretty cool. South Carolina is another one where the capital is like Montana is a really unique little dome that provides a nice contrast with the rest of the building. The building itself is spectacular. It's a nice looking building, and the grounds are very nice. But I think again the contrast of that dome in the building. And with South Carolina being one of the smallest southern states, it's appropriate the state capital building itself isn't terribly large. Vermont is just an example of how a state capital.
That's nice. It's tucked in some greenery.
Vermont is a cute little state, and this capital is a cute little building. Unlike some of the other small states like Delaware, you can't really tell if that's the state capital. It's just a small building. This one is clearly the state capital for Vermont, and it's very big for a state of this size. The next five are all very, very similar to each other, so I'm going to give us some serious nitpicking. But of those five, I'm going to rank Rhode Island the lowest, even though it's a very nice building, very classy. Although it is kind of a large building, it's a tiny state. But what makes this one not quite as nice is the far right. The grounds themselves not that nice. It's basically just parking lot and streets with not really any nice landscaping to make the building look as nice as it looks. But not over Rhode Island, the grounds are a little bit nicer. The building is pretty simple. It's monochromatic light, pretty similar to traditional architectural style, but it shows that the ground is a little bit better. The building itself is kind of the same. The third of the five look very similar to each other is Arkansas. So I'm going to give Arkansas a little bit of a nod over the two behind it, and it sits on a high hill overlooking downtown. I think it's a pretty good look for the Capitol building, like the man, you know, the peons of downtown. So seriously, I do think it looks a little bit classier when the Capitol building is high up on a hill. I think Missouri's looks slightly more stately, slightly classier. It's kind of hard to put into words. I think this looks a little tiny bit nicer. The setting along the river is pretty nice. Really hard to decide between these five. They all look very similar, but it is all five look very good. And Missouri one. And the last of the five that look very similar to each other.
That was satisfying.
The rank of the city is slightly higher than the other four because I like the grounds with a little more trees and a slightly wooded type aspect to it. I like
The issy of the pippy of the sippy. I know what I just said there.
Pick something very small details, and I do like the little bit wooded area, and I like the gold eagle on top. After seeing five in a row that all look very similar, one like Wyoming will really start to stand out. So if you take a general overview of the state capital, so many of them are just a big dome on top, but all have the same architectural style. You can see how you can do things a little bit differently. So the five in front of it all look very nice, although they're not terribly unique from each other. Wyoming's a little bit more unique. It's a relatively small size, just at least one of these. Indiana's has a very grand look to it. I like the contrast of the dome with the building itself. And I like how it has a little bit of horizontal definition to it and quite a flat front to it. Just a couple of unique touches that makes it look a little bit nicer with one line. Colorado's is another example of a building that has the same typical architectural style with the dome on top, but a few details.
I'm surprised Illinois is getting ranked this high up on the list.
The setting of it with the grounds in front, it sits right across the plaza from the very stately looking Denver City Hall, so it's just a pretty cool look with all the government stuff right there. But overall, real nice looking state capital. Kansas is another one that has a pretty traditional looking architectural design.
Tulips!
It makes it look so much nicer. It's kind of disproportionate in size, but in a good way. The contrast is nice. The state house grounds are nice. So overall, Kansas is really classy looking state capital, and we're getting some of the best ones in the country. I don't know exactly what it is about South Dakota that makes me like it so much. I just think it looks really cool. When my wife and I were there, we were both like, wow, this is one of the coolest looking state capitals in the country. I don't know exactly why. I'm not sure if it's the contrast of the dark dome with the white building, or the fact that it's a really cute little town here. It's just a small little town with a nice looking state capital. So overall, I think it's one of the best ones in the country. You might be surprised to see me rank Nebraska so high, as it's just a high-rise, but unlike Florida's and North Dakota's, that are just ugly high-rises, or Louisiana's, that just looks like a regular kind of high-rise. This is clearly not a regular kind of high-rise. It looks a lot different. It looks very grand and stately. And to me, it looks clearly like the state capital, even though it has a very, very unique look to it. So I really like Nebraska's, even though most people don't. Utah's is another one that's a very grand-looking, stately Capitol building. And kind of like Arkansas, it sits on a high hill that overlooks downtown Salt Lake City, which is a pretty cool look. but if you live in California, you might be thinking, wait a minute, that's our capital. That looks exactly like ours. And really, it kind of does, but overall, still is a very nice looking capital. Leading off the top 10 is Wisconsin. And when you first look at it, it looks pretty similar to those 5.
Nice.
What makes Wisconsin a lot different
That's a
is the fact that it
bussin'
has
thing.
kind of
That's
a
bussin'.
3D feel to it, where it's got an X kind of layout to it. I think it looks really good, especially when you see it from an aerial photograph. But just that detail.
That X, that is a cool looking capital, and it's not aligned to northwest south. It's northwest northeast.
Texas,
You
as you
know.
expect, has a huge, grand-looking state capitol. Looks very nice in that traditional architectural style, but it also has that kind of dusty, dirty look to it that I don't really like too much. And the dome doesn't quite match the building, so it doesn't quite have the good contrast. But why I have Texas ranked so high is that every capital has an underground part to it, whether it be a bomb shelter or escape room with a governor kind of thing. But Texas's underground is out in the open, and it looks very nice. And the architecture was done with the underground part as well. That's a pretty cool aspect. It's very unique in that way.
That's
no
pretty.
other state has an exposed underground like Texas does. Illinois is another one that, kind of like Kansas, has a very disproportionately sized dome from the rest of the building, but I think it looks really good. And I like the unique look to this building. Although it does have a not quite matching dome from the rest of the building, but overall I think it has a very unique look that I like a lot. Whenever I do a ranking of something and I have California ranked high, I almost feel guilty because I'm from there and it's going to be perceived as biased, but I do think this is one of the best looking capitals. I like the bright light, how it contrasts with the dome. It's very ornate and grand as you'd expect from a huge state. It's a huge building. And also, surprisingly enough, it's the most wooded state out ground in the country. It's just one of the trees, which makes it look really nice and puts a really nice little, first glance,
Out of graphene?
other states in the country, traditional architectural style with a dome, but man, that dome is gorgeous. It's the most beautiful dome of all the capitals that has a dome. And just like Oklahoma City, the building isn't downtown, but that hurts Oklahoma because 2 miles from downtown Oklahoma City is flat and brown and bland. 2 miles from downtown Charleston is gorgeous and wooded right along the river, so it's a really nice setting for a nice building, and yeah, it's all about that dome. New York is obviously a very different architectural style than the rest. It's the same style as the Parliament building in Ottawa, Canada. So it's very stately, very grand looking, but it's obviously a state capitol building. It's obviously a government building for a very powerful state. So I really like the look of it. Really unique, really cool looking. Minnesota shows how you can do that traditional style building but make it look so much nicer. That marbled look looks so cool. The gold in front of it constantly nice. It just has a really nice setting right now. Style a lot better than Pennsylvania has a look to it that just makes it look powerful. And it's a powerful state, but it just looks like the capitol building of a country. It just, there's something that just makes it look a little more big time than most of the other states. And it is an absolutely gorgeous building with a beautiful
It is
dome,
gorgeous.
contrast with the rest of the building. The ground is very nice. So yeah, definitely overall, this is one of the best ones in the country. Iowa shows how you can do kind of a dirty, dusty look, make like Arkansas and Utah. It sits on a high hill that overlooks downtown, so it just has a really nice setting, a gorgeous building. I think it's the most beautiful building of the traditional architectural style. And now for what I feel is the best state capital in the entire country, and that's Connecticut. You can't possibly look at this building and tell me it's not badass. The architecture is gorgeous, it's unique. There's nothing else like it in the entire U.S.
That is actually. I don't know if I'm not really a big fan of the gold building, but that is a pretty.
It's done with a very unique style, a unique take on it, and perhaps a little bit classier than some of the other state capitals. But yeah, in my opinion, this is the most beautiful state capital in the entire country. So that's my ranking of the 50 state capitals. And like I was saying at the beginning of the video, it's just my opinion. People to
Top 10 areas to retire to? Not Illinois.
Take a tour of a place from the comfort of your phone.
Heading on a family trip?
Nah, sorry, son.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to
World According to Briggs. Let's go. I listened to this on season 5 of this.
With any luck, will someday retire and be a senior citizen. Where you live as a senior is very important. Cost, weather, taxes, healthcare all play a big part as we age. That's up census. That's according to the Census Bureau, obviously. In 2020, 25% of them live in the state. And weather most of the year. So obviously, they will have a lot demographic. Today we rank these states by what percentage of the state is over 65 and how much higher that is compared to the national average. The national average is 14.5% of the state's population is 65 or above. But today's question is, what states have the highest percentage of their population? Why? Let's take a look. Arizona. Nice warm.
I love that flag.
At times, tons of golf courses, assisted living, nursing homes, and healthcare costs are less than the national average. Property tax and income tax, and no inheritance or state tax. So, the state won't be taking too much from you. 5-year-old stripper you met on your 82nd birthday. Yeah, that really happened. That's how Anna Nicole Smith got a bunch of money. Arizona has about 1.2 million seniors. That's 16.7% of the state's population. That's 9.5% average. Now to break it down for you, in between 65 and 74, you got about 674,000 seniors, and then between 75 and 84, that's about 355,000, and then 85 and older, that's
Oh my God.
28,000. Number 9, New Hampshire. This is a little surprising because we all know most of New England gets very cold for a handful of months every single year. That's not slowing down the seniors from living in New Hampshire. The granted state isn't warm enough to offer year-round golf like Arizona does, but it is beautiful enough that if you like to just walk through the woods and go to nice parks, New Hampshire's a great option. On top of that, they have great farmers markets all throughout the state. The cost of living in New Hampshire is lower than most of the New England states, I mean, except for Connecticut. Only about 5% of the seniors living in New Hampshire live in poverty, which is far lower than any other state. They don't have a tax on salaries or wages, and there's no sales tax. But property taxes can be kind of high, so maybe if they were a renter, 17% of the state population is over 65. That's about 11.5 above the national average. Breaking down for you, 65 to 74, you got about 135,000. In that category, 75 to 84, you got 62,000. And then 85 or older, and there's about 29,000 New Hampshire residents that are over 85. Number 8, Hawaii. I'm surprised they're this high up on the list. I mean, talk to any senior. It's like their dream is to live in Hawaii. It's just too expensive for most of them, so that's why they don't. But if you can handle the high cost of living, Hawaii has a lot of bonuses. The weather, obviously, it's a tropical friendly island. Beautiful beaches, beautiful land. The lawns like all the U.S. states, they have a low property and sales tax, so the cost of living is really high. That's one place. 13.3% of the state population is over 65. Between 65 and 74, that's about 139,000. Between 75 and 84, that's about 68,000. And 85 older is about 38,000. Hawaii's not a giant state, so that's a lot. Number 7, Pennsylvania. The Keystone State is on my short list of places I want to retire. Been that way for a couple of years now. I like it because it's a beautiful state. It does get really cold during the winters, but still, it is a beautiful, beautiful state. A lot of seniors move there because most costs are below the national average, and the state government has a lot of money on seniors. They have great healthcare networks, they're investing in medical facilities, and tons of things for seniors to do, especially seniors that like to break outdoors. There are 2.2 million seniors in the state of Pennsylvania, giving them about 17.4% of the state's population, and that's about 14.1% above the national average. Breaking down the demographics, seniors aged 65 to 74, that's about 1.2 million of them. Seniors from 75 to 84, that's about 670,000. And seniors 85 and older, it's about 325,000. Pennsylvania is a great option for seniors. I mean, if you can get past the cold, everything else is pretty decent. Number 6, Delaware, the first state. Delaware's been very popular with seniors for quite a few years. I'm not sure how much longer that's going to go on. The cost of living is going up a little bit higher than other states, especially in that area. Home prices have gone up over 10% in the last few years, but they do have low property taxes and no sales tax, so that's great. One other plus about living in Delaware as a senior, it's not too far from New York City, Washington, D.C., or Philadelphia, so if the history is your thing, there's a lot of options there, and Atlantic City is relatively close too. For census, there is 168,000 seniors living in Delaware. That's about 17.6%.
Attention to the lowest incomes. Mexico, Mississippi, that's Virginia.
Experience more with going to the tables. Chase Sapphire.
Man, why do all the old Confederate states have it so bad? Okay, okay, I know I wasn't gonna like talk about stuff like this. But can we all agree, like, like historically saying it's funny, like the Confederate like party has to be the most sore loser party in the entire history of losers. Like I think a lot of people can agree with me when people like put their stupid little like Confederate flag or like I'm a rebel. It's not the Confederate flag. Actually, no, that is not the Confederate flag, you dunce. That's the Virginia coat of arms in the 1850s, I'm not wrong. Around the time when the Confederacy was formed, that was the Virginia coat of arms for their soldiers. It's called. I'm not even offended that they are doing that they're using the Confederate flag or the Virginia coat of arms. I'm just laughing at them because they're dumb, stupid. That's just hilarious. Like they're like Confederacy. The Confederacy is just a bunch of sore losers. Convince me that way.
And a video about money. Have you ever wanted to know how much the average family makes in different states? Who hasn't, right? You know, you're sitting at home wondering if moving to another state might mean more money. Tired of eating that Nutmaster and hoping you could maybe get up to some of that top shelf Nutella? Maybe moving out of one of the states on this list will help you achieve your life goal of Nutella all the way. If you're thinking about relocating, this video's for you.
Please, Asher, this is the biggest hindrance. If we can automate this, that would be so great. The ability to not automate that is a hindrance. I think people will benefit if we could find a way to automate those. I mean, I mean, it's possible with timers, but like, can we make like the automated button? I mean, furnaces are automated. Those things right there, that is also automated. The condenser is automated. Why can't we just automate the trade platform? It's got an in-out output system. I don't see a reason why we couldn't.
Latest numbers. In today's video, we're looking at the states with the lowest average yearly income.
Mississippi,
This year's list has a few surprises and a few of the states that are notorious for having low wages. Well, they're back again. A city or state with a lower than average.
I'm sorry for anybody that lives in Mississippi. Hey. I'm sorry for the people that live in. God, my hands are freaking. My hands are cold. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the people in Mississippi. I'm not insulting you. Here, you can insult me. I live in Illinois. It's literally a state that I call our capital, Pig City, if you get what I mean. Hey.
Gives you an outlook on what to expect if you do move there. Lower than average income means poverty is a real issue for that location. Crime is going to be higher. Less income normally means fewer tax dollars, and that normally leads to less public services from the local and state governments. There's so much more that goes into this, but none of you showed up for economics according to Briggs. A couple things you should know about this list. The highest state average annual income is $88,702. I'd like to tell you what state has the highest average income, but we're going to save that when we do the other side of this list and look at the states with the highest average income for a family. Just so you can gauge where these states sit, the average household income for 2020, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, was $65,712 a year. That's for the entire family, not just one person. All right, let's take a look. Number 10, South Carolina.
I told you, it's a lot of the old Confederate states.
5 million residents, and about 14% of them live in poverty. As we've seen in other videos, South Carolina is a nice place to live and has some really nice cities.
I don't doubt that.
A lot of their small towns and rural communities are really close to the poverty line or well below the poverty line. From 2019 to 2020, South Carolina's average household income dropped a little bit, like most states, because of the pandemic. They went from a little over $56,000 on average to $53,199. Number 9, Tennessee. Tennessee has always had some serious poverty issues, and they're not really known for knocking it out of the park when it comes to salaries. They do have a lot of people with really unrealistic views about what's going on in their own state. I get emails all the time where they think I am undercutting how many Californians are moving there. One guy tried to explain to me that they gained over 1 million people last year, all from California. I tried to explain to Ned how wrong he was, but he wasn't buying it. You know, stats, figures, videos didn't sway old Ned. He knew, I didn't. Again, a little under 14% of Tennessee residents live below the poverty line, and their average annual household income is about $53,320. Can't even afford much Jack Daniels on that kind of money. You end up in the woods, making your own. Number 8, Oklahoma. We just did a video on tornadoes, and I was surprised to find that Oklahoma wasn't in the top 10 for the average amount of tornadoes. It was really weird. You expect Oklahoma to have a bunch. No, they don't have a bunch, and they don't have a bunch of people making over $60,000 a year either. Oddly enough, a lot of them are...
That's not correct. That's not correct. Yeah, it is. Oklahoma is. Illinois won. I'm not surprised. Illinois, we do get tornadoes here. Not as the ones down south in Oklahoma. But oh my god, yeah, it's... I mean, we have a very weird bit of pride over here. I mean, after all, Illinois is the state where the infamous, legendary, mythical, you could say it, March 18th, 1925, tri-state tornado happened, where that killed over 780 or 795 people, the most deaths that's ever been documented from a tornado. Yep. That's our record.
Really big belt buckles for some reason. 15.2% of Oklahoma's population lives below the poverty line. They also have one of the highest rates of residents on public assistance, as you can imagine, and their average annual household income is $52,919. Kentucky. If this one's I want to congratulate you on not keeping up with current events since, I don't know, before Prohibition or something like that. The Bluegrass State has a long and colorful history with poverty. Currently, about 16.3% of their population is living below the poverty line. In 2020, the average annual income in Kentucky was $50,589. That's it. For that kind of money, you probably have to get a second-hand large hat for the Kentucky Derby. I always marvel those ridiculously large hats women wear at that thing. And before you do, stop typing. I know not everyone wears one of those hats. They're still ridiculous. Number 6, Alabama.
See, I told you, it's all the southern states. Man, I'm guessing that's I'm guessing that's karma coming back to bite them in the butt for racism back in the 1960s. That's what I'm guessing. It's like, die, thou racists. Just smites down, but instead of lightning, it's just an economy being so poor. Honestly, just effing chat for that.
Areas that are really nice, and some cities that make a lot of money. The downside is they've got a lot of rural communities and small towns that don't make squat. 15.5% of Alabama's population lives below the poverty line, and their average annual income is $50,536.
Like, seriously, that's literally...
Number 5, New Mexico.
Listen, I'm not saying New Mexico because it's Mexico. No, I'm saying New Mexico because New Mexico kind of has a bad history of its economy. Even though it's in the United States, it does have a problem. Their education is absolute trash. And no, it's not because it's not Mexicans stereotyping. It's just as the U.S. state, it's got a pretty good amount of crime and educational problems. It's well known at this point. I'm looking at you, Mississippi. New
things to show up on
Mexico.
negative lists, especially when you're talking about poverty.
I will say, New Mexico does a
crime,
hell of a flag.
for places where they might have to go save Matt Damon. Watch The Martian. Good movie, but it looks a lot like New Mexico. I mean, it's not all bad. They have great sunsets. Too bad 18.2% of the population lives below the poverty line, and their median annual income is $49,000.
Sucks because New Mexico is a pretty cool looking state.
Number 4, Louisiana.
Not surprised about this one at all.
Louisiana. Louisiana isn't like a pillar of American society.
I don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Like every state, they have a few places where you can make a good buck.
Louisiana's got its problems. Ah, Louisiana, the state with 12 arrested state senators. Am I right? It's seen better days. Louisiana has, I mean, it actually used to make coins back in the 1800s. The New Orleans Mint. However, those guys, just like Kanye West's career in 2022, has shut down. I'm sorry, I have to go get that. My grandpa actually gave me a coin, and on the back of it, it's really hard to see. You're not gonna see this with my camera. See that little dot above my finger? Where is it? It's not like a black dot, it's a silver dot. See that little kind of like dot? Right above that, right there. It's kind of hard to see. That's the O Mint. This is it's an 1884 O minted Morgan dollar. They don't make O Mint coins anymore. They shut down. Make it like the O Mint is a pretty interesting, cool little mint mark to find on coins because they don't make them anymore. My favorite unseeable mint mark is the S mint mark. I love the S mint mark. It's just so cool when you're looking at wheat pennies and all of a sudden you just see an S right on it. I'm like, it's like, oh, that's cool. It's an S penny.
High-paying jobs. And cue the person in the comment section that says, I have a high-paying job, and I'm in Louisiana. Congratulations, I wasn't thinking about you when I made the video. 19% of Louisiana's population lives below the poverty line. They call Louisiana the sportsman's paradise because they got a lot of hunting, a lot of fishing, things like that. On the other hand, they have a lot of people hunting and fishing just to eat dinner. The average annual income in Louisiana is $49,469 a year. Number 3, Arkansas. Hey, look everyone, it's our old friend Arkansas. Arkansas is a pretty
Arkansas. I'm gonna make everybody mad in my comment section that lives in Arkansas. Arkansas. Deal with it. Cry, please. Like sad. Arkansas. I'm committing a sin. Arkansas. I feel bad for anybody that's not from the United States that's come to here and said Arkansas. And then people in Arkansas are like, sinner, idiot, loser. Like I feel so bad. Like, what did I do wrong? I heard a rumor that that's actually a crime in their not country, but it's a say. I don't know. I've heard that they can actually get fines.
So chances are you're going to see Arkansas. The poverty rate in Arkansas, $597. Number 2, West Virginia. The mountain state comes in number 2 when it comes to lowest wages.
Listen, I'm not discriminating on state. I'm just saying that's statistics.
You know that they have had a terrible run of luck. I'd say the last
Also, I think they have like one of the most like. They have, oh wait, never mind. Opioids. They have an opioid crisis? I didn't even...
from West Virginia, and I know what the state looks like. It has beautiful people and beautiful land. They've just had incredibly bad luck. West Virginia has the luck of a dude proposing on the Jumbotron at a Major League Baseball game. As the girl says no and walks away, he gets hit in the back of the head with a foul ball. The good news, it's cheap to live there. So you get cheap land and beautiful land for the most part. Percentage of people living below the poverty line in West Virginia is 16%. Their average annual income is $46,711. All right, everyone. Before we get to number one, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link down below. There's also a link for Amazon Audibles. That is an affiliate link. They're not sponsoring the video, but if you drive to work or anything like that, this is something great to have. I use it all the time because I travel all the time. All right, on to number one. And number one, Mississippi. Yes, it is.
I called it. I didn't even watch this video beforehand. It's always Mississippi, man.
In the top 10 for best states. They were part of the Confederacy, and there was only 11 states. 19.6% of Mississippi's population lives below the poverty line, and their average annual income is only $45,081. That's two people trying to make it. Luckily for Mississippi, they've got an incredibly low cost of living, and their land is some of the cheapest in the nation. All right, everyone, that's today's list.
The most dangerous state capitals.
The new Starbucks pink drink is like discovering a luscious strawberry utopia.
What is going on, everyone?
World according to Briggs.
And a video about state capitals. I have an issue with state capitals that suck. Big pet peeve of mine. My view is this, that a state capital should be the best freaking city the state has to offer. Honestly, it is the state's most important city. They should be doing whatever they can to make the city a shining example of their beautiful state. I'm not blaming the citizens. Well, not all citizens. If you're out committing crime and graffiti everywhere, or you have a broken down 1971 Winnebago in your front yard that hasn't moved since 1983, I'm blaming you and the elected officials of your capital city and state that let your state
I hate how I just called it.
and basically garbage. I get it. Cities are hard to control. You'll never get rid of all crime. Population density plays a big part in crime and poverty. But if other cities can be decent places to live, your state capital can be too. And some of these state capitals have sucked forever, and that's not right. Everyone's gonna have a couple down years. That happens. Budget problems, whatever. Lose a big employer, things like that happen, but you should be able to fix it. Today we're listing the 10 most dangerous capital cities in the U.S. Some surprised me, I'll tell you that right now. This data reflects the 2019 calendar year and was released from the FBI in September of 2020. This is the most current data available. Alright, let's see the most dangerous state capitals. Number 10, Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
I thought Jackson, Mississippi would be way worse. They have extreme poverty, and this, by most standards, is probably one of the worst capital cities in the nation right now. But they're only at number 10 when it comes to how dangerous it is, which that's a good thing for Jackson. When you see some of their other stats, you look at this one and go, oh, that's kind of refreshing. Jackson, Mississippi has a population of about 160,000 in the city itself, and about 576,000 in the metro area. They have a violent crime rate that's 98% higher than the national average. Number 9, Albany, New York. Albany is the state capital of the Empire State. Congratulations, Albany. You finally made it onto one of our lists. This is the first time we've ever talked about them, I believe. 4 or 5 years of making these videos, and Albany finally gets on this list. You know, not a lot of their stats are, I would say, terrible to get them at the worst, poverty or anything like that. And none of their stats get them on a best of type list either. They're just kind of in the middle, except in violent crime. They have more than they need. If you look at the place, it'll probably surprise you. Albany is a beautiful place. They've got great architecture with a lot of older, restored buildings that are in really good shape. It's a very green city and has the Hudson River running just east of town. Albany, New York has a population of 97,000 that's in the city, and the entire metro area has 1.1 million residents and a violent crime rate that's 101% higher than the national average. Number 8, Hartford, Connecticut. You know, Hartford shows up on a lot of negative lists. They can't help it. I think they're trying to achieve a level of suckage that is well above and beyond any other city in New England. One thing I have noticed about Hartford is whenever they show up on one of these lists, nobody ever defends them. Any other city, any other state that has negative stats or show up on a worst of list, I get all kinds of comments and messages, occasional emails on people saying they don't think it's that way and they think I'm wrong. Well, not Hartford. They all agree, it seems like. I never get emails from those people. Hartford has 124,000 residents in the city itself with 1.2 million in the metro area. And they have a violent crime rate that's 126% above the national average. Number 7, Dover, Delaware. Dover never shows up on any of these lists. They're kind of middle of the road on everything statistically, except violent crime, obviously. This again was a surprise, because like Albany, it's a beautiful city. At least it's a city to have violent crime. I was actually so caught off guard, I checked a couple other resources and looked back at years past on Dover, and yeah, this is about normal for them. Dover doesn't have a lot of people. They only have 38,000 residents, with the metro area having about 152,000. So it's definitely not that big. But they got a big city's violent crime rate, 129% higher than the national average. Number 6, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The only thing that shocks me about this one is they're not number 1. Baton Rouge is a violent city. If you look at the stats on most of the things going on there crime-wise, you would probably think you're looking at the stats of a supermax president. The Pelican State capital cities had crime issues since forever. I honestly doubt it's going to get any better anytime soon. Baton Rouge has 220,000 residents in the city with about 830,000 living in the metro area, and they have a violent crime rate that's 147% higher than the national average. By the way, did you know Baton Rouge means red stick in French?
Really?
Number 5, Lansing, Michigan. Lansing is northwest of Detroit and southwest of Flint, Michigan, completing the triangle of poor decision-making.
Let's say, yeah, that's like...
Believe it or not, if I would have done this list last year, they would have been number 4 on this list. So bravo, Lansing. You're moving in the right direction. Not far, but you're moving in the right direction. Lansing has almost 119,000 residents with 464,000 living in the metro area. So it's a good-sized place with a violent crime rate that is 191% higher than the national average. Trenton, New Jersey. You had to know Trenton was going to make a list like this. Trenton has all the bad stats in all the right places. I mean, they have some really bad stats, including a really high violent crime. Yet they still have an average cost of living. You know, there's normally this trade-off. When you have bad crime, high poverty, unemployment issues, you get a really low cost of living. It's like Trenton went on Pawn Stars and Chumley said, you know, average is the best I could do. And they went with it. One thing I will give Trenton, and I think it's overlooked a lot, is they have a lot of history in that city, from the Continental Army staying there to the French-Indian War. There is a lot of history in this city. But this city has 83,000 residents with about 368,000 in the metro area, and they have a violent crime rate that's 196% higher than the national average. Number 3, Indianapolis, Indiana. I don't know what the deal is with Indy, but every time I do a list like this, I get a bunch of Indianapolis yahoos coming out of the woodwork to explain how I'm wrong about the stats. They try and convince me that Indianapolis is some kind of nirvana that we should all be moving to. It's not. I mean, it does have some positives, but violent crime is not one of them. I'm sure those guys are going to show up on this list too. If you think these stats are wrong, I would suggest calling the FBI. If you don't agree, Indianapolis has about 876,000 residents, with the metro area having a little over 2 million, and they're rocking a violent crime rate that is 235% higher than the national average. Number 2, Springfield, Illinois.
Yep.
I've seen this one. Springfield was once a great city.
I'm not even offended.
You always seem to meet someone that's from there, and they always have a story that includes something like, as soon as I could afford a car, I left Springfield. I actually know a stand-up comedian from Springfield. He told me he ended up in Vegas after leaving. Actually, he said he left Springfield, he ended up in Vegas, woke up one morning, he had gum in his hair and like body glitter all over his face. face, and he's wearing tight leather pants. And
Hey,
he's
it's
in a room with a bunch of other people.
the Lincoln tomb.
Own leather pants. That was
I've rubbed that nose of Lincoln.
Springfield has 114,000 residents and about 211,000 in the metro area, and they are killing it, no pun intended, with a violent crime rate that is 300% higher than the national average. Alright, before we get to number one, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. We would very much appreciate it if you would go there, watch some videos, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you like, or subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Alright, on to number one.
Of course, the Southern State.
Yeah, imagine that. Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, Little Rock's got a history of violence.
What you consider old school suckage. They've got all the things you want in a really bad city. They've got poverty, unemployment, crime rate that's through the roof, and a violent crime rate that's even further through the roof. My suggestion to the state of Arkansas is move state capital to Fayetteville. It's not the best, but it's so much better than Little Rock. Little Rock has a population of about 197,000 residents, with the metro area having about 738,000 residents, and they get to brag about the highest violent crime rate of any capital city at 301% above the national.
My God, that is atrocious.
Little Rock, you're doing great things. Alright, that's today's list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Have a great day, and be nice.
Freeways almost ruined St. Louis. Almost ruined San Francisco.
I'm here in the Panhandle in San Francisco. This park, which connects to Golden Gate Park over that way, would not be here. Would not be for the activists in the 1950s and 1960s who stopped it from becoming a freeway. They also stopped their proposal to build a Los Angeles-sized freeway network here in San Francisco. This video tells the fascinating and inspiring story of those activists and how they saved San Francisco from the freeway.
Our story begins in 1951. The car was reshaping American cities, and more people than ever were buying homes in the suburbs and relying on freeways for their commutes into the central city. Planners responding to this trend drafted a plan for San Francisco's freeways that would rival Los Angeles. The plan called for 25 miles of elevated freeways that carved up San Francisco. Nobody paid much attention to the plan until the California Highway Commission voted to expedite construction of the Embarcadero Freeway, a short stretch of highway from the 1951 plan. As construction began on the access ramps for the Embarcadero in 1953, 1954, and 1955, San Francisco residents began to realize what destruction these freeways would cause. Neighborhoods would be destroyed and access to the waterfront would be severed, all to serve the needs of suburban commuters. It was a bad deal. Citizen groups proposed alternative designs, but the state highway authorities refused to consider tunnels or other modifications. In 1955, the San Francisco Chronicle panned the Embarcadero project, comparing it to the ugly Alaskan Way Viaduct in Seattle. Check out my video on the removal of that freeway to learn more. In 1956, construction began on the Embarcadero proper. Around that time, residents revolted against the planned freeway to link San Mateo County to the Golden Gate Bridge. County supervisor and freeway opponent William Blake rallied his fellow supervisors to cancel the freeway outright. Mayor George Christopher vetoed the board's resolution, but commissioned his own study of the western route, distrustful of state highway engineers. In an effort to stall the process, the board of supervisors commissioned their own study. California had a lot of state money to build freeways already, but in June of 1956, President Eisenhower signed the Interstate Highway and Defense Act. Eisenhower's act gave states
Interstates, yeah.
amounts of money to build freeways. For every dollar a state spent on freeways, the federal government would kick in 9. Money was not plentiful at all, and the state could afford to build as many freeways in San Francisco as it wanted. They wanted
So basically, that's basically if you had your property, if you paved $1 worth of roads, the feds would just give you $9. Dude, that's an infinite money cheat code. Wow. So I see where there's a problem here. The civilians don't want their stuff to get destroyed, but the state wants to get money from the federal program in order to start making these highways. I see now.
The California Division of Highways designed a statewide highway system that called for 12,500 miles of freeway, 1/3 the size of the federal government's proposal for a nationwide system. The California proposal called for the construction of all 25 miles of the 1951 San Francisco plan. If it's not clear by now, the battle lines were drawn. On one side stood the state and federal governments, with huge sums of money and engineers ready to build as many freeways as they could. On the other side stood San Francisco residents and their board of supervisors, who had very real concerns about the traffic and pollution the freeways would bring, not to mention the neighborhoods that would need to be leveled. Furthermore, they loved their views. San Francisco was then an
Exactly. That's
city. Residents did not want freeways to mar their view. The San Francisco Board of Supervisors, responding to the state's proposal, gutted the 1951 25-mile plan, recommending the amount of freeways be cut by 75%. This sent lawmakers in Sacramento into a fury, as it stalled other projects statewide as well. But the board voted unanimously, precluding a mayoral veto like the one in 1956. The mayor, whose position on freeways was somewhere between the board and the state, worked to produce a revised compromise plan. In 1960, Mayor Christopher presented the revised plan. It restored only 2 freeways canceled by the board in 1959, the Western Freeway and the Golden Gate Freeway, though the plan called for the Golden Gate Freeway to be built at some later date. Now, compromises and revisions sound reasonable, unless that compromise means reviving a freeway that would destroy your house and neighborhood. San Francisco residents were not in favor of reinstating the Western Freeway, to put it mildly. The protests and public outcry were fierce. Supervisor Blake, bolstered by 30,000 signatures against the Western Freeway, rallied the board to unanimously shoot it down, as well as the mayor's entire revised plan. The resident protests were so effective that even the state authorities viewed the Western Freeway as dead at this point. This victory is truly a grassroots one. Parks advocates revolted against the idea of repurposing parkland for freeways like the Panhandle. The environmental movement was just taking off at this point, and people worried about the freeway's effect on the urban forest. The anti-freeway advocates were brushed off as dowdy ladies and lusty housewives in the media, and despite sexist attacks, were able to accomplish their goals. An anti-freeway lobbying group popped up in Sacramento, and led to even more protests and revolts in 1962. 1961 is also a big year for the San Francisco park system, which did not exist at this time. But as it became clear that residents were not interested in seeing their city bisected by freeways, mass transit became an attractive alternative, and political momentum to build the service began to snowball. Despite the victories of residents,
that sucks, because
the government was not ready.
that's stupid, because now when you really remember, you know, America be like a thing where the people can decide what's best for them. They don't want the freeway. Nobody wants this freeway, but then the government just starts pushing and pushing and pushing these people until they can't do it anymore. Let the people vote. It sucks how the only votes that's required are the people in power, like voting, not the people that aren't in power. It's a democracy. I think if before the highway were to be made, I think there should be a vote, because constructing such a highway is a good thing. Well, but it's a double-edged sword. It is a great thing for transport and travel, but it does bring dire consequences for the people that live in these areas.
In 1962, they came to the conclusion that the problem was marketing. The Embarcadero was ugly and not a good poster child for future freeways. They decided to design a beautiful freeway that residents would accept, right through the Panhandle. The city agreed to let the state. The crosstown tunnel was the board's own idea, not something the state highway division had devised. But once they got the freeway pig, the state tried to play hardball with the freeway funding. In 1963, the state highway division threatened to shift $100 million earmarked for San Francisco freeways down to Los Angeles, unless the city approved the Golden Gate Freeway along the waterfront in 60 days. Facing this ultimatum, the board called their bluff, said no to the Golden Gate Freeway, and endorsed their crosstown tunnel project. Furthermore, the board called for the demolition of the Embarcadero and a completely underground Golden Gate Freeway. At this point, the board was not interested in anything above ground, no matter their costs. In 1964, the state released the report on the crosstown tunnel and Panhandle Freeway. Unsurprisingly, the state shot down the board's crosstown tunnel. They said it was too expensive, even considering the vast sums of money available to build freeways. The state found its own proposal for the Panhandle Freeway to be inexpensive and recommended it be built. The city looked at the designs for the Panhandle and were not impressed. They believed that the state botched the design and sent them back to the drawing board. The delay was fortuitous because in 1964, the federal government passed the Civil Rights Act. At the time, the Panhandle neighborhood was largely African American. Highway engineers and policymakers dubbed poor black neighborhoods as blight and ripe for storm clearance in the form of highway construction. The Civil Rights Act provided racially targeted policy.
Redlining scumbags.
Panhandle plan, and the city's first black supervisor, Terry Francois, cast the deciding vote against it. Internally, the state ignored the city's vote, and the Highway Commission unanimously approved the Panhandle Freeway, and authorized the Highway Division to complete the study of an all-underground Golden Gate Freeway, like the city had asked for. Only the state's design wasn't all underground. It was mostly a depressed roadway. No surprise, the Board of Supervisors rejected that plan. This was really the final salvo in the freeway battle. The city and its residents had won. Governor Reynolds, not that instead, said, "The greatest tragedy is the lack of courage of San Francisco officials to build beautiful freeways." But not so fast.
Freeways can be beautiful, but I doubt the ones there's will be.
Reanimated by the state. The city and its residents, weary after a decade of fighting and opposing the issue, looked ready to throw in the towel. The initial Board of Supervisors straw poll was 6-5 in favor of the new freeways. Supervisor Blake, in a last-ditch play, told the board that he had to be out of town on city business for 3 weeks. The board agreed to delay the vote until he came back. In that time, freeway opponents regained their energy and protests engulfed the city. When Blake got back, 2 supervisors switched their votes and the freeways were dead. More real this time. Anti-freeway activists in San Francisco were some of the most successful in any city in the United States.
No, god darn it!
25 miles of freeways proposed in 1951, only a small fraction were built. Activists in other cities also saved significant parts of their cities from freeways. Check out this map of the plan for Washington, D.C.'s freeway network. It would have destroyed D.C. An estimated 200,000 housing units would have been destroyed, and most of those black households. And in recent years, cities have even begun tearing down underused and unwanted freeways. In San Francisco, the city finally removed the hated Embarcadero Freeway after the 1989 earthquake damaged it. The same damaged the northern section of the Central Freeway, and it was replaced with a really pleasant multi-way boulevard. Today, San Francisco residents don't fear the freeway and are focused on improving art and other mass transit services, thanks in large part to the activists 50 years ago. But the city finally removed the hated Embarcadero Freeway after the 19...
Oh yeah, I see.
89 earthquake damaged it. The same earthquake damaged the northern section of the Central Freeway, and it was replaced with a really pleasant multi-way boulevard. Today, San Francisco residents don't fear the freeway and are focused on improving BART and other mass transit services, thanks in large part to the activists 50 years ago. Thank you so much for all the subscribers to this channel and patrons on Patreon. If you like this video, give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel.
The forgotten story of Harbor Drive, Portland's demolished freeway. Portland is just such a stink hole, bruh.
Waterfront Park in Portland, Oregon offers some of the most scenic views in the city. With over 36 acres of green space along the Willamette River, downtown just wouldn't be the same without it. But this park has a far more unique history than most people realize. This mile-long strip of land was once the site of the city's first freeway. Portland made history in the 1970s when it demolished the freeway and replaced it with this sprawling park. The road is all but forgotten today, but it played a critical role in the city's development for decades. So how did they manage to remove it? What exactly was Harbor Drive?
The Front Avenue project?
In the early 1930s, Portland's downtown district was bordered by Front Avenue. which ran along the west bank of the Willamette River. The road dated back to Portland's founding in the 1850s, and now 80 years later, it was busier than ever. The growing population and the rise of the automobile had overcrowded the city's aging streets. Downtown was notorious for constantly being in gridlock. To help with this issue, the city approved a major public works project that would widen Front Avenue and revitalize the surrounding area. By 1935, engineers proposed a second road parallel to Front Avenue that would run right along the edge of the river. This 6-lane, mile-long road would have far fewer intersections, serving as a high-speed bypass. Front Avenue itself would be widened to 6 lanes as well, with many of its intersections being upgraded. By July of 1941, demolition was underway for the project. A total of 11 blocks and 79 historic buildings were leveled. The Oregonian described it as warlike ruins and said it looked like a bomb raid. But among the rubble, one building was left standing, and it was a big one.
Public market building?
In December of 1933, the Portland Public Market Building was introduced as the new home for local farmers markets. The massive building was 2.5 blocks long. It boasted 100 shops and 300 stalls, with a whopping 2 miles worth of sales counter space.
Oh my god.
All told, the market building was not only the biggest structure in the city, but also the largest public market in the United States. Unfortunately, hundreds of vendors refused to move to the building, and many customers preferred to shop at more convenient smaller markets. As a result, the building never quite lived up to its potential. As work along the waterfront continued into winter, it became clear that the new bypass road needed a name. Some construction contracts had been calling it Harbor Drive, so the city adopted this as the official name of the new road. Just 2 weeks later, on December 7, 1941, Japanese pilots unleashed a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Practically overnight, the United States had entered World War II. The U.S. war effort gave new importance to the construction of Harbor Drive. Thousands of workers were coming to Portland to work in the Kaiser shipyards and other wartime industries. This sudden influx of the population congested the city streets more than ever. Unfortunately, the war had cut off all funding and materials to civilian projects.
Yeah, even pennies were affected.
A portion of its construction. Once the money ran out, the city wouldn't be able to continue until after the war was over. On November 20th, 1942, the first section of Harbor Drive officially opened. It split off from Front Avenue at Columbia Street, passing under the Hawthorne Bridge, alongside the Market Building, and under the Morrison Bridge. From here, it continued farther north until ending at Vine Street. Between Harbor Drive and Front Avenue was a median about 100 feet wide that would eventually be landscaped with grass. But in the meantime, it would be used for parking. Along the edge of Harbor Drive was a walkway that allowed pedestrians to enjoy the riverfront views for the first time. Although the project wasn't fully finished, Portlanders were thrilled with the new developments. As the war drew on, Portland's leaders were growing worried about what would happen after the end of the war. Thousands of wartime workers would suddenly be unemployed, and the city's aging infrastructure would need to be overhauled to handle the growing population. They soon agreed to bring in some outside help. To guide the city's vision for the future, Portland's leaders hired Robert Moses, the Park Commissioner of New York City, to come make his recommendations. Moses brought his crew of consultants to Portland in the summer of 1943, and over the next 2 months, they studied the city inside and out. During his visit, Robert Moses lived up to his his reputation of being short on public relations and long on rubbing people the wrong way. City Commissioner William Bowes said, "He wouldn't talk to anyone, and no one could reach him to find out what he was doing. He didn't ask anybody for instructions or advice. He simply went about it in his own way." Bowes was acting as interim mayor at the time, and he tried to get an update from Moses on how the study was coming along. In response, Moses told his secretary, "When I want to see the mayor, I'll send for him." In November, Moses and his team presented their findings in a report called Portland Improvement. This gave recommendations for how to modernize the city's infrastructure in the coming years. Among other things, Moses had a few comments about Harbor Drive. He agreed with the city's future plans to beautify the road as much as possible. He also suggested widening the sidewalks and planting lots of grass, trees, and flowers along the roadway. In the grand scheme of his plans, though, Harbor Drive wasn't much more than a footnote. He popularized the idea of building much larger highways around both sides of the Willamette River. These ideas were ambitious, but they portrayed an exciting future for the city. 2 years later, in September of 1945, World War II came to a close. The U.S. had been involved in the war for about 3.5 years, and now Portland had some catching up to do.
Completing the vision.
Work soon resumed on Harbor Drive and Front Avenue in the summer of 1946. On the north end, the roads would receive a new connection with the steel bridge. On the south end, Harbor Drive would be extended, merging with Front Avenue near Arthur Street. Front Avenue would also receive a new interchange with Barber Boulevard. This was important because Barber carried US Route 99, which was expected to bring a new wave of traffic in the coming years. Route 99, which ran the entire length of the West Coast, was one of the primary roads that drivers would take through Oregon. For drivers coming to Portland from the south, 99 was split between two routes. 99 West came up through Tiger and onto Barber Boulevard. 99 East followed the east side of the river to Oregon City, and eventually up to southeast Portland. However, plans were underway to build a shortcut between these two routes, called the Wilsonville Cutoff. Previously, the only way to cross the river here was by the Boone's Ferry, which had been operating for 100 years. The ferry was slow, and many drivers chose to just go around the long way. But the crux of the project was a new highway
Be right back.
When completed, the route into Portland 3.5 miles shorter. This is why finishing Front Avenue and Harbor Drive was so important. Within a few years, practically all northbound traffic into the city would be funneled straight onto Harbor Drive. But Harbor Drive wasn't expected to solve all of the traffic issues on its own. The streets of downtown were crowded with streetcars, commercial trucks, and parked vehicles. City engineer Fred Fowler proposed converting downtown to one-way streets, as this would alleviate many of these issues. The city studied this option over the next few years, and by 1950, they were ready to make the conversion. While many business owners celebrated the change, hundreds of others petitioned against it. In his report to the city council, Fred Fowler stated, "There are too many things in this town that are being put off which need doing. Let's back up our judgment and try this. If it doesn't work, then we'll try something else." Fortunately, the transition went without a hitch, and the benefits to downtown's traffic flow were immediately noticeable. Nearby, construction was underway for the north end completion of Harbor Drive. A new complex interchange was being built at the steel bridge, providing connections to Harbor Drive, Front Avenue, Everett Street, and Gleason Street. The ramps were all designed to allow traffic to flow without stopping. In September of 1950, the steel bridge interchange was open to traffic. Harbor Drive had finally been built as originally intended before the war.
Panels.
By the summer of 1951, Portlanders had been enjoying the convenience of the newly completed Harbor Drive. But despite it being designed as a high-speed bypass, it was getting congested with traffic on a regular basis. One problem was that the road had 3 traffic lights at Clay, Columbia, and Jefferson.
Oh my god.
Fred Fowler suggested that Harbor Drive should eventually be made a true freeway by eliminating these signals. To allow for safe left turns into downtown, engineers proposed to replace these intersections with 2 flyover ramps. The Clay Street ramp would overpass the southbound lanes, ending at the intersection of Front and Clay. For Columbia and Jefferson, a spiral ramp would cut over the river and overpass the entirety of Harbor Drive. Just up the road, the Market Building had been permanently closed after years of declining popularity and legal issues. After sitting abandoned for over 3 years, it was purchased by the Oregon Journal. They completely remodeled it with a newspaper production facility, editorial offices, and a newsroom. However, the building was another major source of traffic on Harbor Drive. Because it was so close to the river's edge, it forced the road to squeeze down to 4 lanes to fit alongside it. To solve this, engineers proposed converting this section to a double-decker viaduct, with 3 northbound lanes running on top and 3 southbound lanes running below. This idea would later be abandoned. But 200 miles north, Seattle was building a waterfront viaduct of its own, and it was much grander in scope. The history of the Alaskan Way Viaduct bears a striking resemblance to Harbor Drive. Seattle was having traffic problems in its downtown area, and by the 1930s, plans were underway to build a freeway around the edge of downtown. The result would be a massive, double-decker freeway along the city's waterfront. Construction began in 1950, right around the same time that Harbor Drive was completed. Fred Fowler was inspired by Seattle's massive project. He said, "Alaskan Way is very similar to a project which we planned for Front Avenue, a future elevated expressway to the north." He was referring to an idea that was originally proposed during the war years. This called for Harbor Drive to be extended northward as an elevated freeway. It would run above the rail yards in industrial areas, leading up to a massive new river crossing called the Fremont Bridge. There There were no immediate plans to move forward with these projects. But Fowler felt that if the Alaska Way Viaduct could be built, surely the future face of Harbor Drive could become a reality too. Meanwhile, Oregon's freeway network was slowly taking shape. The Wilsonville cutoff had expanded into a longer route that would soon run clear from Salem to Portland. Barber Boulevard was now seen as inadequate to handle the traffic, so a new route would be constructed to bring the freeway directly into downtown. When completed, it would transition right into Harbor Drive. On the city's east side, engineers had their eyes on a windy ravine called Sullivan's Gulch. This soon became the site of another new route called the Banfield Freeway, which opened in the fall of 1955. This modern road was designed with limited access points and no traffic lights. For this reason, the Banfield was considered Oregon's first true freeway, even though Harbor Drive had predated it by more than a decade. But the best news was still to come. In June of 1956, President Eisenhower signed a new bill into law called the Federal Aid Highway Act. This would allow a new network of interstate freeways to be built.
Best governmental bill ever established, or one of the best governmental bills the feds have ever established. Eisenhower, your name deserves to live out forever and ever and ever. Eisenhower, can we get another Eisenhower for president, dude? Dude is the reason you can literally go from one side of the country to the other on road within only a few days. It took you a week to get to the other side.
Paying 90% of the cost. This historic legislation was a game changer, and it meant that Oregon could tackle much larger highway projects in the coming years. In 1957, the new ramps for Harbor Drive were completed. The Clay Street ramp opened in April, and the overpass for Columbia and Jefferson opened a few months later in August.
Ugly, but it works.
With these projects completed, the last remaining traffic lights were removed from the route. Harbor Drive could now be called a true freeway. With federal funding now available, detailed plans were being laid out for the massive new freeway around both sides of the Willamette River. Near the south end of Harbor Drive, the river crossing the bridge. From here, two new freeways would be constructed. Crossing the river would be the East Bank Freeway, running along the eastern waterfront. Around the west side would be the Stadium Freeway, which would wrap around downtown and eventually cross the long-proposed Fremont Bridge. But with these ambitious projects coming in the near future, the writing was on the wall for Harbor Drive. Once the new loop was built around it, it would still be needed. Engineers had assumed that Harbor Drive would be a part of the new interstate system as well, but they soon discovered that it did not meet federal standards. The road was still essential to the city's infrastructure, but expanding upon it any further would be difficult without federal support. Meanwhile, even though the road had no more traffic lights, there were still a few turn lanes where drivers could pull off into downtown. The most notorious of these was the unprotected left turn onto Oak Street. Northbound drivers had to cross a total of 9 lanes of traffic coming from both directions.
Oh my god.
This caused numerous collisions and fatal accidents.
I would rather shoot myself than do that. If you know me, I absolutely despise 4-lane stop signs. I would rather die. I would rather just end it than even attempt to cross that, dude. Today will be true in the challenge. Cross this road on foot without getting harmed at busy. Oh no, just take a walker, walk at 5 miles an hour.
The city announced it would build another overpass at the spot, touching down at the intersection of Ash Street and First Avenue. While this would be much safer for drivers, It would also destroy historic buildings in the Skidmore Fountain area. The ramp would also block the last unobstructed view of the waterfront. Before long, the project was met with a wave of protest by local groups. This was the first time in 20 years the Harbor Drive had seen any significant pushback. But times were changing. As interstate megaprojects were popping up around the city, Portlanders were beginning to realize how much destruction they caused. City Commissioner William Bowes had no interest in preserving the waterfront. He argued that the thousands of motorists using Harbor Drive are too busy with traffic to watch the sailboats go under the river. Local architect John Storrs felt that the city was focusing too heavily on automobiles. He said, "The riverfront is rapidly disappearing. Frankly, I'm surprised that one of our technicians hasn't come up with a plan to freeze the Willamette River so we can park cars on it." By August of 1961, it was clear that the ramp was far too controversial to move forward, and it was shelved indefinitely. Just a few months later, in November, the final segment of the South End Freeway was completed. Portland, Salem, and Eugene were now linked by a continuous highway running for 110 miles. The route was Oregon's first segment of Interstate 5. Not only was it a local pride, but it was the nation's longest continuous piece of the interstate system at the time. Just as planned, I-5 was built to lead directly into Harbor Drive. Traveling to and from downtown was now a seamless experience. Even if Harbor Drive wasn't interstate material, it was still one of Oregon's busiest and most esteemed roadways.
A last chance.
A couple of months later, in early 1962, the city was finalizing its plans for the Stadium Freeway on the west side. But the route was seeing immense pushback from locals. Many wanted to come to this area, since Harbor Drive would create slowly the next development of Harbor Drive. But the Stadium Freeway had already secured millions of dollars, including funds to build the Fremont Bridge. Supporters didn't want to turn down what was essentially free money. Local real estate investor Harold Schnitzer was appalled by this. He said, "To say that we must have a $70 million freeway system cutting our city in half so that we can also get a $5 million Fremont Bridge, it's like buying Cracker Jacks to get the toy at the bottom." He and many others supported the old idea of having Harbor Drive run up to the Fremont Bridge instead. Unlike the Stadium Freeway, this option would be less destructive and much cheaper to build. But many people figured that the elevated freeway would be nice somewhere along the city's waterfront. A similar project had recently become a cautionary tale, and Portlanders weren't keen on repeating that mistake.
And what? Freeway?
500 miles to the south, San Francisco had seen its own explosion of freeway projects after World War II. Among these was a proposed route that would run along the waterfront between the Golden Gate Bridge and the Bay Bridge. The easternmost section of this project was called the Embarcadero Freeway. Construction began in 1953, but the project was highly controversial from the start. The massive concrete structure blocked scenic views of the San Francisco Bay, as well as the historic World Trade Ferry building. The first segment of the Embarcadero Freeway opened in 1959, after protests effectively halted any further progress. Some of the area's most beautiful views were now blocked by the concrete monstrosity. Back in Portland, opponents of the Harbor Drive extension feared that it would become another Embarcadero Freeway. In contrast, the Stadium Freeway was considered less of an eyesore, since it would be depressed below ground. The City Council finally approved the Stadium Freeway to move forward, killing off any last hopes to extend Harbor Drive.
I'm gonna get some
Amidst the
tall
rise
rails real
of
quick.
concrete structures and the fumes of automobiles, engineers were paying little attention to their impact on the environment. But soon, a voice would be lent to Oregon's environmental issues, and it would be a voice that it would not soon forget. On November 21st, 1962, KGW aired a documentary called Pollution in Paradise. The film was produced and narrated by newscaster Tom McCall, who had gained local popularity for his commanding voice and journalistic integrity. McCall had spent the last year investigating Oregon's polluted air and waterways, culminating in an hour-long expose that revealed just how bad the situation was.
That sounds historic.
Improper practices in irrigating and farmland fertilizing, and in logging, road building, and mining, add so much more to the warming up and to the soiling of Oregon's rivers. Test nettings in the Willamette show that only carp and other warm water trash fish are able to survive. In the Portland area, the land layout brings 50 to 60 days every year of that smog-encouraging peculiarity of the atmosphere called inversion. This is more frequent than at any other place on the west coast outside of Los Angeles.
The film was ahead of its time, calling attention to the shocking lack of accountability that was choking Oregon's natural resources. The award-winning documentary helped elevate Tom McCall's popularity.
Probably one of the first signs of people noticing global warming.
While Oregonians were
or in
beginning
climate
to
change.
understand the environmental challenges around them, construction continued at a feverish pace. Segments of the new interstates opened incrementally over the next few years. When the Markham Bridge finally opened in October of 1966, it marked the final section of Interstate 5 to be completed in Oregon. 308 miles of freeway had been built, making Oregon the first West Coast state to complete its entirety of I-5. A few weeks later, Oregon's 1966 election for governor took place. The winner was a familiar face and a familiar voice, Tom McCall. Over the last few years, he had transitioned his focus from journalism to politics, and his popularity helped him secure the role as Oregon's 30th governor. In the coming years, he would live up to his promise of bringing positive environmental change to the state he loved. Tom McCall wasted no time in his efforts to preserve Oregon's beauty. That next spring, he campaigned heavily for the Oregon Beach Bill, a piece of legislation that would make the entire Oregon coast open to the public, permanently. Overwhelming public support helped the bill pass in June of 1967.
This bill guarantees that Oregon's coastline will remain secure for generations to come. And in so doing, it will enable Oregon to meet its burgeoning needs for recreation far into the future.
And the beach bill was just the beginning. In the following year, he would shift his focus toward beautifying Portland's waterfront. The first step was to get rid of the old Journal building. By now, the Oregon Journal had vacated the building, leaving it abandoned for the second time in its history. The city purchased the building back from the Journal in 1968, with plans to demolish it in the near future. Freeing up this space would allow the waterfront to be redeveloped into an accessible fancy. The chief of the task force was Glenn Jackson, one of the most influential highway engineers in the state's history. The options proposed by the task force evolved several times, but they could be simplified as follows. One option would have Harbor Drive pushed over as close as possible to Front Avenue, which called for as many as 14 total lanes of traffic. This would only leave a strip of land about 80 feet wide to build the park. Another option would tear up Front Avenue entirely and rebuild Harbor Drive in its place. The road would be depressed 14 feet below ground, with several pedestrian bridges crossing over it to access the new park.
That sounds pretty.
A third option would push Harbor Drive completely underground in a 3,000-foot-long tunnel. The new park would be developed on top of it, allowing it to be over 230 feet wide. The fourth option was the simplest, and perhaps the most radical. Harbor Drive could just be removed entirely. Highway engineers, including Glenn Jackson himself, said the idea was out of the question, and that the abandonment of Harbor Drive would be impossible. It was true that no city had ever intentionally removed one of its freeways before. But despite the resistance, McCall pushed the task force to consider the option.
Some highway engineer.